Across the world, giants of stone rise silently from the past. Massive monoliths, colossal statues, and unfinished wonders, carved and moved by hands long gone, stand as whispers of civilizations we can barely imagine. Tonight, we'll wander among these enormous creations, feeling their weight, their mystery, and the stories they hold. Let your mind drift slowly through these 22 chapters of megalithic marvels. The statue of Ahimsa, a silent witness of time. Nestled gently in the quiet hills of Nashik, India, stands a figure unlike any other. Towering over the landscape, the statue of Ahimsa gazes across the valley, serene, unyielding, eternal. Its calm presence seems to whisper stories that span centuries, of faith, devotion, and an unwavering belief in peace. This is a statue dedicated to Rishabhanatha, the first Tirthankara of Jainism, a being revered for guiding countless souls toward the path of non-violence, compassion, and spiritual awakening. As your eyes trace the smooth lines of the figure, imagine the countless hands that shaped it, layer by layer, stone by stone, pouring devotion into each curve, each detail, each expression, rising majestically into the sky. The statue of Ahimsa is not just an object of devotion, it is a sentinel of human belief, a reminder of ideals that transcend time. From the base to the tip of its towering head, the sheer scale draws you in, making you feel small, yet part of something far greater. Slowly, as you breathe in and out, the wind brushes softly across the stone, as though nature itself pays homage. Nearby, the hills cradle the sight, their greenery contrasting with the soft gray of the statue. Birds glide past, tracing invisible patterns in the air, their quiet calls mingling with the distant rustle of leaves. There's a sense of stillness here that's almost tangible. You can almost hear centuries of prayers, chants, and quiet meditation echoing gently through the valley. Every few years, a ceremony known as Mahamastakabhisheka is held here, a ritual bathing and anointment of the statue, where devotees gather in silent reverence, offering flowers, water, and fragrant oils. It is a celebration of peace, a moment when the ancient ideals engraved in stone are made alive again in the hearts of the living. Imagine being there, feeling the warmth of devotion in the air, witnessing countless hands lifting vessels of water to gently cascade over the head and shoulders of the statue. The droplets glimmer in the sunlight, like tiny stars falling upon the earthly realm. As you allow your mind to drift across the hills, notice the intricate details carved along the statue's form. Each line, each mark, speaks of patience, of human dedication, of centuries of spiritual discipline. It is a stone embodiment of Ahimsa, non-violence, reaching out to every visitor, not with words but with a quiet, commanding presence. You can almost feel the calmness radiating from it, spreading through the air, touching everything around it. Even as the sun slowly dips behind the hills, painting the valley in shades of gold and amber, the statue remains steady, unwavering. Shadows stretch across its surface, shifting gently with the passing light, and yet the expression of serenity never falters. Imagine the gentle twilight here, the softening colors, the cool breeze brushing against the stone, as if the world itself is preparing for a long, peaceful night. Walking closer, you can see the care in every contour of the figure, the subtle curves that give life to stone. Its eyes, calm yet piercing, seem to hold the wisdom of ages. The face does not speak, yet it communicates volumes about patience, kindness, and harmony. In that stillness, you can feel your heartbeat slow, your thoughts quiet, and your mind settle into a gentle rhythm. For hours, one could simply sit at the foot of the statue, letting the atmosphere of calm seep into every part of your being. Each breath brings a deeper connection to the place, to its history, to the ideals it embodies. Here, amid the soft rustling of leaves, distant birdsong, and the occasional whisper of wind, you can let yourself drift into contemplation. Through the centuries, this statue has seen countless suns rise and set, countless seasons come and go. Storms have passed, rains have washed over its shoulders, and yet, it stands resilient. A quiet observer of human devotion, a guardian of non-violence, a testament to what the human spirit can manifest when guided by ideals. And so, as you continue to picture the statue standing in the tranquil valley of Nashik, allow yourself to absorb the sense of calm it radiates. Let your thoughts move slowly, as if the stone itself is guiding them. Let the quiet strength of Rishabhanatha, carved into the very rock, settle gently within you, and in this stillness, let your imagination wander through time, across the centuries, and into the serene heart of the Ahimsa statue, where history, faith, and human dedication meet in a silent, eternal embrace. The third monolith, Baalbek's silent giant. In the quiet hills of Lebanon, there is a place where stone giants rest. The Baalbek quarry stretches over the earth like a frozen ocean of granite, silent yet brimming with stories that time has yet to fully reveal. Among these colossal remnants of human ambition lies the third monolith, lying in situ beside the legendary Stone of the Pregnant Woman. Imagine standing there, feeling the cool, solid weight of history beneath your fingertips, knowing that this stone has not moved in thousands of years. The third monolith is immense, longer than a city bus, heavier than a small building. One cannot help but pause and reflect on the magnitude of such an object. The hands that first shaped it, the ropes and levers used to hew it from the quarry walls, the patience of workers who dedicated their days to moving this stone. It is almost unimaginable. Each rough edge, each faint tool mark, is a whisper from a civilization long past, inviting us to ponder what was possible, what was known, and what has been lost. As the sun drifts across the sky, shadows play upon its surface. Sometimes the stone seems to breathe, as if it carries within it the very essence of the workers' sweat, their struggles, and their aspirations. It is quiet here. The hills echo only with the distant hum of nature, birds and wind, and yet one can almost hear the faint rhythm of hammers striking, the creak of wooden sledges sliding over stone, the voices of laborers chanting and calling across the vast quarry. The third monolith has never been moved, and that is perhaps its most intriguing quality. Despite our modern technology, despite our cranes and machines, it remains firmly where it was placed millennia ago. Some speculate that advanced techniques, now forgotten, allowed ancient engineers to cut, lift, and maneuver such weight with precision. Others whisper of mysteries lost to time, secrets that no written record has preserved. Standing here, beside the monolith, one feels both awe and a subtle unease. How did humans achieve such precision? How could they plan, carve, and align something so enormous with such accuracy? The stone of the pregnant woman, nearby, serves as a silent companion, a testament to human fascination with form, symbolism, and perhaps ritual. The third monolith, in contrast, is nameless. It does not seek admiration, it does not demand attention. Yet, in its stillness, it commands respect. Running your fingers across the granite, you feel the subtle undulations left by time, the rough textures carved intentionally, the smoother patches polished by tools. These details tell a story not recorded in books, not celebrated in inscriptions, but embedded in the very stone itself. Imagine the quarry alive with activity, the sun rising over the hills, dust rising from freshly cut granite blocks, the sound of stone scraping against stone, echoing across the valley, laborers moving enormous rocks, their muscles straining, their faces set in concentration. How many lives, how many hours, how many generations contributed to this single monumental achievement? Time stretches when you contemplate this. Every inch of the monolith carries a legacy. Every shadow, every crack, whispers of human ambition reaching for the extraordinary. Even now, standing alone beside it, one cannot help but feel the pull of history. The third monolith does not exist merely as stone. It exists as a bridge across millennia. It reminds us of human perseverance, creativity, and the endless desire to leave a mark on the world. And yet the stone is also patient, quiet, enigmatic. It offers no answers, only reflection. It asks us to consider our own smallness, our own fleeting presence, against the backdrop of ancient determination and enduring mystery. There is a subtle rhythm to being here, a meditative cadence in the silence. Your footsteps are soft against the quarry floor. The wind brushes across your face. Shadows lengthen and shorten with the sun's passage. And the third monolith remains, a steadfast witness. It has seen civilizations rise and fall, kingdoms dissolve, empires crumble, and yet it remains untouched, as if to remind us that some achievements transcend time and human memory. Look closely at the stone. Its surface is not uniform. There are scars of quarrying, marks of tools, subtle differences in texture that catch the light at different angles. Each imperfection tells a story. Each smooth patch hints at hands that labored, possibly for months or years, to achieve something precise and monumental. Imagine the discussions among the builders, plans being drawn in sand, calculations made with ancient tools, lines being measured and remeasured, and then the slow, careful work of chiseling, dragging and positioning this immense stone into its place. In its presence you feel a calm yet profound connection. It is almost as if the stone holds the very memory of those who worked on it, the echo of human intent frozen into its mass. And in that stillness, there is a gentle meditation, a softening of time, as your mind drifts across the ages. The monolith teaches patience and humility, reminding us that some achievements are beyond comprehension, some mysteries beyond our modern understanding. As you breathe and take in the scale of the third monolith, let your thoughts wander. Consider the enormity of human endeavor, the patience, the ingenuity, the quiet strength that allowed ancient builders to shape the impossible. Let the gentle calm of the quarry envelop you, the soft wind, the distant hills, and the silent stone itself. You are alone with history here, yet intimately connected to it, tracing the hands and hopes of people long gone. And so the third monolith remains, immobile, unyielding, yet profoundly alive in its quiet story. It asks nothing of us but to witness, to reflect, and perhaps to dream. Standing here, we are reminded of what humans can create, and yet also of the mysteries that will always remain. Its presence is a soft meditation, a quiet anchor that tethers us to the past, while allowing our minds to drift slowly, peacefully, into the expanse of time and wonder that stretches before and beyond us. The unfinished obelisk in its quarry at Aswan. There is a place in Egypt, near the gentle flowing Nile, where stone tells of dreams that were almost fulfilled. It is the northern quarry, in Aswan, where embedded in the bedrock lies the unfinished obelisk, a monument born of ambition, but halted by flaw and fate. They say it was Queen Hatshepsut who ordered this colossal piece of stone to be cut, once upon a time in the New Kingdom. She envisioned a towering obelisk for the Temple of Amun at Karnak, a beacon of devotion to the gods, a symbol of the Egyptian power that reaches toward the sky. But the stone would not allow it. Before the obelisk could be freed, a crack, faint at first, revealed itself. That crack, almost invisible, grew in shadow and in weight until the decision had to be made: abandon or risk a catastrophe. And so they stopped. Picture the obelisk lying there, still partially attached to the rock beneath, its massive body stretching upward, or rather, lying flat against the granite bench from which it was cut. It remains in situ, as though the earth itself held on, not allowing this dream to rise. The great height it would have reached, around 42 meters, would have made it taller than any obelisk ever erected. The weight it would have borne, over 1,100 tons, was beyond what they could safely move. But even unfinished, it speaks. Walk with me slowly along the ancient paths of the quarry, feeling the warmth of the sun softened by dusty heat, smelling the dry dust and stone, hearing the faint echo of tools long silent. Observe the shallow grooves left by dolerite pounding stones. The tool marks still visible, rounded hollows where laborers fired small hard balls at the granite, chipping away over time. Each blow was purposeful, each mark deliberate, each fragment of stone removed a step toward ambition. Imagine the artisans selecting the perfect granite bench, one that seemed crack-free, one that glowed faintly pink in the morning sun. They must have walked the quarry, walking over rocks, touching potential blocks, inspecting them, testing them with small tools. Then, once the site was chosen, the process of carving began. Vertical grooves were hammered down the length, 3 faces were shaped. The top would have tapered into a pyramid. But before the final face was completed, problems emerged. Fractures in the stone, hidden weak spots that only revealed themselves as the weight of the work revealed the pressure inside. As you let yourself drift through this image, sense the weight of what might have been, what it would take to finish. The logics, the planning, the manpower, hundreds of workers, foremen, stonemasons, all working in concert, granite quarried in place, chisels, pounding stones, wooden wedges, water soaked into cracks to expand them, cooling, heating, harnessing the natural elements. All this effort, all this hope, and then stillness. The obelisk's material, pink granite, is hard, beautiful, yet unforgiving. It lent itself to greatness, but also hid secrets beneath its surface. The stone itself showed signs of stress, veins of weakness, perhaps only visible after many blocks had been removed, when the center held more pressure than the surroundings. The crack condemned the project, and in that very imperfection lies its power. Standing beside the unfinished obelisk now, the scale is hard to grasp. It is almost biblical in size. Its length dwarfs a man walking beside it. Its breadth, its height, if upright, already imagined by the ancients, presses on the human mind. You feel something in your chest, a soft awe, a reverence, because in its incompletion, it does not feel broken, it feels honest, it feels human. Let the wind drift across the granite. Let your thoughts settle into the quarry's hush. No inscriptions carved deeply here, no sermons, only tool marks, side-by-side grooves, the smooth faces where workers tested their precision, and the rougher surfaces where stone had been hacked away and discarded. The obelisk tells you how decisions were made, where risk and caution meet, where ambition must pause when nature insists. Study the surrounding quarry as well. There are other half-worked blocks, other obelisks, bases, fragments of pillars, experiments left incomplete. These are not failures. They are experiments in artistry, engineering, human courage. They show stages of a process, the steps of carving, leveling, polishing, lifting, all visible here, because the obelisk was never moved, never erected, because it remains anchored, literally, to the rock from which it was born. There is a kind of beauty in that anchored state. It resists time in its incompletion. It resists forgetting. As the sun moves across the sky, light plays differently on its faces. Shadows fall into the grooves. The stone changes color, pink, gray, gold, depending on angle and hour and the warmth of day. In morning light, it is soft. In midday it bleaches under heat, in evening it glows with dusk. Pause here, in your mind. Let your breathing slow. Let the magnitude of human endeavor sink in. Imagine waves of sun, years of work that never fully reached their goal, and yet that goal remains present in the stone. It is not lost, it is a promise, a frozen moment of ambition. Think of what we can learn from it, because the quarry workers left almost everything in place. The tools, the grooves, the sketches in stone, the techniques of splitting granite, of dragging stone, of preparing surfaces, all of which were preserved by the decision or perhaps the necessity to stop. Today, archaeologists and engineers can inspect these marks, compare them, test theories. They can see how ancient Egyptians worked with materials, with pressure, with fragility. You might imagine the faces of those why questions in their minds. Did they see the crack and think, mistake? Did they foresee danger of collapse? Did someone say, this granite is flawed? Or was the decision made from spiritual concern, from desire not to disrespect the stone, perhaps from practice intertwined with ritual, faith, and understanding of the divine? For the ancients, working an obelisk was not merely stone cutting, it was aligning with the cosmos, reflecting the sun, honoring gods, and the finishing, the raising, the erecting, would have had meaning beyond the physical. Let your thoughts float over centuries, over dynasties, over the pulse of the Nile, over sands drifting, over civilizations rising and falling, all while this obelisk remained unmoved. Its incompletion becomes immortal, because perfection is often impossible, but perseverance and intention persist. As dusk falls, imagine yourself beside the unfinished obelisk, the air cooling, the horizon glowing gold and then pink, the stone cooling too, the quarry quiet, the shadows lengthening, the tool marks fade in the dim light. The crack looks less like a defect now, more like a wound that defines character. The stone hums quietly with possibility. Even now it teaches. It whispers about human ambition, resilience, humility, about what we can start, what we can plan, what we must abandon when nature asserts its boundary. And in that lesson there is peace. In that moment, there is awe. So let your mind settle in this scene. Let the unfinished obelisk be a companion for your thoughts. Let its scale remind you of the grand, yet delicate nature of human dreams. Let its quiet stillness guide you into reflection. And as you drift further, let sleep come, carried on the weight of stone, ambition, history, and the gentle acceptance of unfinished wonders. The monolithic statue of Bahubali, the silent giant of India. Imagine a figure, carved from a single stone, standing in quiet solitude. Its gaze neither demanding nor soft, simply existing. This is Bahubali, also known as Gomachwara, a towering monolith that rises over 57 feet in Shravanabalagola, Karnataka, India. For centuries, pilgrims have climbed the hundreds of steps leading to this giant, not merely to admire its sheer size, but to feel the calm presence it radiates, a presence that seems to slow the very air around it. Carved from a single block of granite, Bahubali is one of the largest monolithic statues in the world. Its surface, polished and smooth, seems almost alive in the morning sun. Every contour of the stone tells a story of devotion, patience, and artistic mastery, but also of an age when humans dared to attempt the impossible. Picture, if you will, the sculptors hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago, chiseling, shaping and smoothing each line, each curve, fully aware that their work would stand the test of centuries. The statue depicts Bahubali in deep meditation, his arms crossed, eyes half closed, a serene calm etched into the granite face. Vines and moss have begun to claim the edges, softening the hard stone, blending the man-made with nature. He is a silent witness to centuries of monsoon rains, sun-baked summers, and the quiet passage of countless pilgrims, all seeking solace or enlightenment. As you imagine standing before him, you might feel dwarfed by the scale, not just physically, but spiritually. The air is thick with stillness, and the world seems to hold its breath, respecting the timeless patience captured in stone. This was not merely a statue, it was a message, a call to inner reflection, a reminder that devotion and persistence can carve permanence out of impermanence. Around Bahubali, legends have formed. Some speak of his immense strength and patience, choosing non-violence after winning a battle against his own brother. Others marvel at the engineering feat. How was such a monolith quarried, transported, and raised so precisely? How did ancient hands, without cranes or modern machinery, manage to balance its enormity with such grace? The surrounding landscape complements the statue's presence. Rolling hills, lush greenery, and the soft rustle of leaves in the wind provide a natural frame. Early in the morning, mist sometimes rises, cloaking the base of the statue in mystery, almost as if Bahubali is emerging from the clouds. Pilgrims and travelers alike describe a profound sense of silence here, a silence that penetrates the mind and encourages reflection. Walking around the statue, you notice intricate carvings at the base, scenes of other figures, sages, and devotees, each telling a story of faith, discipline, and the pursuit of higher knowledge. These carvings are not mere decoration, they are a continuum of the same spiritual journey Bahubali represents: patience, observation, and the unhurried path toward understanding. The statue is also a reminder of human resilience. Over centuries, despite exposure to the elements and the pressures of time, it has remained largely intact. The granite, though hard, has been carved with meticulous care, and the proportions remain astonishingly perfect. It is a silent testimony that the ancients were not only capable of artistic brilliance, but also of foresight and precision that continues to baffle engineers and historians today. Imagine the annual Mahamastakabhisheka festival, when devotees bathe the statue in water, milk, and flowers. From a distance, it looks like the giant is emerging from the mist, his stone skin glistening with liquid offerings. Thousands gather, chanting softly, moving slowly, their movements in harmony with the quiet majesty of Bahubali. Even if you are not present, envisioning this scene envelops you in calm, a meditative rhythm that seems to slow your breathing. Consider the hands of the sculptors, their fingers working carefully, guided by tools and instincts, shaping something meant to last millennia. The gentle contours of Bahubali's face, serene, composed, detached from the mundane worries of the world, encourage a deep, reflective calm in all who witness it. The scale itself is humbling, not in a frightening way, but in a way that reminds us of patience, the slow unfolding of human potential, and the quiet persistence of devotion. Now, imagine walking among the steps that lead to the monolith. Each step, taken by countless visitors over centuries, has polished the stone, leaving a subtle imprint of human presence. The cool air, the distant bird calls, the rustle of leaves, all these join in a gentle chorus of quiet observation. Bahubali watches, unchanging as time passes in whispers and sighs. As the sun sets, the granite absorbs the warm glow, and shadows creep gently across the folds of the statue. The face, still calm and serene, now seems to glow with an inner light, a reminder of the strength of stillness and the profound impact of human devotion. Even in stillness, there is a story of faith, art, patience, and wonder. In this presence, you may begin to feel the weight of centuries lift from your shoulders. The world's noise fades, your mind slows, and you are carried gently into a quiet contemplation. Here, at the feet of a silent giant, the modern rush of life seems distant, almost unreal. The monolith, carved by ancient hands, teaches that time, patience, and stillness can produce something enduring, something that whispers across millennia. The monolithic statue of Bahubali is not merely stone, it is history, it is devotion, it is art, and it is a meditative space captured in granite. Its quiet enormity invites introspection, reflection, and the slow, mindful journey of thought, perfect for moments when the mind craves calm. Imagine sitting quietly nearby, feeling the air settle around you, and letting the centuries of silent observation lull you into a reflective, peaceful state. As night descends, the statue stands, indifferent to the passage of hours, centuries, or millennia. It reminds us that some creations are timeless, not because of their size alone, but because of the spirit, patience, and intent that poured into them. The monolith invites you to pause, to breathe, and to understand that in patience and stillness, there is an enduring strength, one that can outlast empires, winds, and even time itself. The Ramesseum, Temple of the Forgotten Pharaohs. Imagine for a moment, standing high above the sprawling ruins of Thebes, gazing down upon the remnants of the Ramesseum. From this aerial view, the temple's massive pylons rise like silent sentinels, their outlines cutting sharply against the desert sands, while the secondary buildings, once bustling with priests, craftsmen, and attendants, now lie in quiet disarray. The sheer scale of this place is humbling. It is as though the land itself was reshaped to honor a single man, Ramesses II, yet time has softened every corner, leaving only echoes of grandeur. The Ramesseum, often called the Memorial Temple of Ramesses II, was more than stone and mortar. It was a testament to the power of memory, an attempt to carve immortality into limestone and sandstone. From the air, you can trace the once majestic courtyards and colonnaded halls. Imagine walking slowly through these spaces in your mind, each step kicking up dust, each echo whispering secrets of ancient ceremonies, the chants of priests, the gentle shuffle of sandals across polished floors. The colossal statues that once guarded the entrance are shattered now, yet even in their fragmented state, they convey the majesty of their original intent. The seated Ramesses, his hands resting calmly upon his knees, his gaze eternally forward, reminds us of the ancient belief in the enduring presence of kings even after death. In life, Ramesses sought to be larger than ordinary men, and in death, he desired a temple that would endure as long as the desert itself. As you descend mentally from the aerial view into the temple grounds, the pylons dominate your vision. These towering gates, once painted in vibrant colors that have long since faded to ochre and sandstone, were symbolic thresholds. Passing through them was a journey from the earthly realm into a space dedicated to memory, worship, and the gods. Pilgrims of the time would have felt a subtle shift as they entered these courts, a gentle quieting of the mind, an awareness that they were standing amidst something greater than themselves. The walls of the Ramesseum are inscribed with reliefs that depict battles, tributes, and divine interactions. From afar, they seem like mere decoration, but each line, each figure, each intricate detail tells a story meant to echo through time. Imagine the artisans at work, chiseling carefully, day after day, ensuring that the pharaoh's victories and deeds would be remembered. Even now, as the wind moves across the ruins, you can almost hear the rhythmic tapping of chisels long ago, a sound carried faintly through the stones themselves. The inner sanctuaries, though partially collapsed, still suggest the sacred spaces where priests conducted their rituals. Lamps flickered in the quiet darkness, incense filled the air with a subtle aroma, and chants reverberated off walls carved with hieroglyphs that chronicled gods, kings, and the eternal balance of Ma'at, order in the cosmos. You can almost feel the coolness of these halls, the faint echo of footsteps, the soft brush of robes as the faithful moved reverently from chamber to chamber. Even the secondary buildings, once bustling with activity, now tell their own stories. Workshops, storerooms, and quarters for attendants lie silent. But if you pause and imagine, you can reconstruct the lives of those who maintained the temple, who carried the daily weight of its rituals. Each corner, each doorway, whispers tales of devotion, discipline, and the human desire to connect with something timeless. From the aerial perspective, the Ramesseum also invites contemplation of its surroundings. The Nile winds gracefully nearby, its waters glinting in the sun, connecting the temple to a broader landscape that was both strategic and sacred. The desert stretches endlessly beyond, an eternal witness to the rise and fall of kings, the shifting of sands, and the quiet endurance of stone. Consider the colossal fallen statue of Ramesses within the temple. Broken yet still commanding respect, it is a reminder that even the mightiest monuments are subject to time. The statue's face, though chipped, retains a sense of calm authority. Its eyes, now empty sockets, seem to look not just upon the temple grounds, but into eternity itself. Walking through this mental reconstruction, the experience is meditative. You begin to feel the weight of history, the patience of builders, the reverence of priests, and the sheer ambition of a pharaoh who wished to live forever through stone. The silence is profound, almost tangible, and yet it hums with the energy of centuries. The Ramesseum is not just a ruin, it is a space where time itself seems to slow, inviting reflection and a gentle immersion into the distant past. As the sun sets in this imagined scene, the temple glows softly in the golden light. Shadows stretch across courtyards, and the ruins seem almost alive, their shapes shifting with the fading sun. There is an undeniable calm in this moment, a quietude that draws the mind inward. You might feel your breathing slow, your thoughts soften, and a gentle awareness of centuries past and present merge. The Ramesseum stands as a monument, not only to Ramesses II, but to the enduring ambition of humankind. It embodies a desire to be remembered, to touch eternity through stone, and to connect with the divine. Even in ruin, even when viewed from above in serene quiet, it inspires awe, reflection, and an almost hypnotic sense of stillness. In this calm, imagined pilgrimage through the Ramesseum, you are invited to walk slowly, observe closely, and let the quiet majesty of the temple carry your mind gently into a contemplative state. The stones themselves seem to breathe, whispering stories of devotion, artistry, and the human impulse to reach beyond the temporal. The Ramesseum teaches patience and perspective. It reminds us that some creations, though mortal in their materials, can echo through time in ways that calm, inspire, and gently guide the human spirit. As you sit quietly, imagining the temple from the air to the inner sanctuaries, the vastness of its design, and the devotion that brought it into being, a sense of peace settles over you, as if you are sharing the quiet with the pharaohs themselves, listening to the whispers of history, and drifting slowly toward rest. The trilithon of Baal, stones that defy time. Imagine standing at the base of the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon, gazing up at the trilithon, the enormous stones that have stood here for thousands of years. These stones are immense, each weighing hundreds of tons, carefully placed atop one another with a precision that still baffles modern engineers. The sheer scale is almost incomprehensible. You feel small, almost invisible, as you let your eyes trace the edges of these colossal blocks, each a testament to human ambition and ingenuity. The trilithon forms the upper of the two largest courses of stone in the temple, and from below, their enormity is overwhelming. Imagine the people of the time, hundreds or even thousands of years ago, hauling these stones from nearby quarries, using ropes, sleds, ramps, and sheer willpower. The effort involved, the coordination, and the vision required to set them in place is almost unimaginable. As you picture it in your mind, a calm awareness settles in, a gentle reverence for the past. The stones themselves, worn smooth by wind and rain over centuries, seem almost alive. Each surface holds tiny grooves, cracks, and patterns that tell stories of time and nature. You can almost feel the energy of the people who shaped them, the echo of hammers striking chisels, the quiet murmur of workers communicating across vast distances. It is a meditation on patience, on the slow, deliberate work of creation that connects us across time. From the perspective of a visitor wandering through the ruins, the trilithon dominates the landscape. The surrounding temple structures, though impressive, seem dwarfed by these giant stones. They create a sense of awe that slows your breath, and the mind begins to wander gently, contemplating the lives of those who built this extraordinary monument. Imagine walking along the base of the stones, feeling their cool surface under your hands, and sensing the weight of history pressing down, not in a heavy way, but with a quiet, humbling presence. The precision with which the trilithon was constructed is still a mystery. Even with modern machinery, lifting and placing stones of this size is an extraordinary challenge. Ancient builders had to plan meticulously, coordinating every movement. The stones fit together perfectly, as if guided by a force beyond our understanding. You can picture them in your mind, slowly sliding the massive blocks into place, one movement at a time, a ritual of creation that requires both patience and reverence. As the sun moves across the sky, shadows lengthen, and the stone's textures shift with the changing light. The trilithon seems to breathe with the rhythm of the day, casting soft, quiet shadows over the temple grounds. There is a gentle calm here, a meditative atmosphere that invites you to slow down, to let the enormity of the stones guide your thoughts into a reflective space. The temple itself, though in ruins, offers glimpses of its former glory. Columns, lintels, and remaining sculptures hint at the grandeur that once surrounded these giant stones. You can imagine priests walking along ceremonial paths, rituals unfolding beneath the towering structure, the human and the divine intersecting in this sacred space. The trilithon watches silently, timeless and steadfast, a witness to centuries of devotion, ambition, and the relentless passage of time. Imagine the stones at night, under a sky filled with stars. The air is cool and still, and the trilithon casts long, tranquil shadows across the desert floor. The quiet is profound, almost tangible. You can almost hear the distant echoes of the ancient world, the soft footsteps of long-gone builders, the whisper of wind brushing against the stone. It is a moment of stillness that allows the mind to wander gently, to rest, and to reflect. As you wander mentally through this scene, the magnitude of the stones invites contemplation. The trilithon is not just a structure, it is a symbol of human determination, of the desire to create something lasting, something that can endure long after the hands that shaped it have vanished. You can sense the patience, the skill, and the awe that inspired these massive constructions, and the calm settles deeper within you as you imagine each painstaking effort. The surrounding ruins add layers to this quiet meditation. Fragmented walls, scattered stones, and the distant remains of ceremonial spaces tell the story of a complex and thriving ancient civilization. You can picture them moving through these spaces, carrying offerings, conducting rituals, or simply observing the enormous stones and marveling at their scale. It is easy to drift into the mind of someone from that time, feeling both humility and inspiration. Even centuries later, the trilithon continues to challenge and inspire. Modern engineers and historians examine the stones and ask the same questions. How were they moved? How were they lifted? How was such precision achieved? And yet, for all our technology, the answers remain elusive, and perhaps that is part of the allure. It allows the mind to rest in wonder, to marvel at the ingenuity and patience of the human spirit, and to float gently into a calm, reflective state. In the quiet of your imagination, you can wander along the base of the trilithon, tracing its massive edges with your eyes, feeling the cool stone beneath your fingers, and listening to the faint whispers of history carried by the desert wind. Every crack, every surface, every shadow tells a story, and in this slow contemplation, the world outside seems to fade. The trilithon is more than stone. It is a testament to ambition, to the desire to leave something permanent, and to the quiet resilience of human creativity. As you linger in this mental exploration, the enormity of the stones invites you to slow your thoughts, soften your breathing, and drift into a serene, almost hypnotic state. It is a space where history, architecture, and human ingenuity merge, guiding the mind gently toward rest. By the end of this imaginary walk around the trilithon, a sense of awe and tranquility lingers. The stones, steadfast and silent, have shared their story without words, and as you sit quietly, enveloped in the calm majesty of Baalbek, the gentle rhythm of history, and the enduring presence of these colossal stones carry you softly toward reflection, contemplation, and an almost sleepy stillness that settles deeply within. The colossi of Memnon, Silent giants of the Nile. Imagine standing on the edge of the Nile River, the warm sun dipping slowly toward the horizon. And before you rise two immense stone statues, the colossi of Memnon. These towering figures, carved from sandstone thousands of years ago, represent Pharaoh Amenhotep III. Their gaze, fixed eternally toward the east, seems to peer over the river, watching the slow movement of time. You can almost feel the gentle breeze brushing against your skin, carrying whispers from a civilization long past. The colossi stand as guardians of the Theban necropolis, and their sheer scale is humbling. Each figure is nearly 60 feet tall, and you notice the intricate details etched into their surfaces. The pharaoh's headdress, the faint outline of facial features, the subtle lines of the body frozen in stone. Despite the erosion of millennia, they maintain an air of serene majesty, commanding respect without a single word. As you walk closer, your footsteps seem to quiet themselves, blending into the vast silence surrounding these colossal statues. Long ago, travelers spoke of the singing of Memnon, the mysterious sounds heard at dawn as the first light of the sun touched the northern statue. Scientists and historians have debated this phenomenon for centuries. Some say it was caused by temperature changes in the stone. Others suggest natural acoustics. But imagine for a moment the ancient Egyptians who heard these sounds. They believed the statues to be alive, that Memnon himself greeted the rising sun. That gentle morning hum, now silent in our modern age, seems to linger in your imagination, a soothing, almost melodic echo of a bygone world. As your gaze traces the outlines of the statues, you notice the scars and fissures etched by time. These marks are silent storytellers, speaking of centuries of wind, rain, and the passage of empires. Yet, despite the damage, the colossi remain dignified, steadfast in their eternal vigil. The surrounding sands and distant temples provide a calm backdrop, and you feel a sense of peaceful stillness, as if the statues themselves encourage contemplation. Consider the labor that went into constructing these giants. Each block of sandstone was quarried hundreds of miles away and transported along the Nile. Imagine the teams of workers, carefully maneuvering these stones using ropes, sledges, and sheer determination. The sound of coordinated effort fades as you imagine the final placement of each block, and now, standing before them, there is only quiet reverence. It is a meditation on human persistence, patience, and the desire to reach for immortality through stone. The colossi have witnessed centuries of change. They have seen the rise and fall of dynasties, floods and droughts, invaders and pilgrims, and yet they remain, anchored in history, silent but potent reminders of a civilization that sought to connect the earth and sky, the mortal and the divine. As you let your mind wander gently around them, the quiet majesty of these statues lulls your thoughts into a steady, calm rhythm. At dusk, shadows stretch along the desert floor, and the statues take on an almost otherworldly glow. The orange and pink hues of the setting sun kiss the sandstone, highlighting subtle curves and details that seemed hidden in the harsher daylight. You can feel the slow heartbeat of history in this moment, patient, rhythmic, and unhurried. It's as if the statues themselves are breathing with the desert, inviting you to slow down and let your thoughts drift like the river beside you. Walking around the base of the colossi, you notice small carvings, graffiti left by travelers over millennia, each a quiet human signature acknowledging the grandeur before them. Even the smallest marks tell stories of awe, devotion, or curiosity, and they remind you that generations have paused here, just as you have, to marvel in silence. There is no rush, no urgency. The stones allow time to stretch, to expand, to soften the mind into a gentle, reflective pace. These statues, though carved by human hands, seem almost timeless. Their presence is a bridge between past and present, a conduit for imagination and contemplation. You can close your eyes and visualize the Nile flowing, the temples rising behind the sand, and the colossi standing unwavering. Each detail, from the pharaoh's headdress to the delicate remnants of paint that might once have adorned them, becomes a thread weaving you into history's calm embrace. The quiet of the desert night deepens as stars emerge above. The colossi cast long, tranquil shadows that stretch across the sands, creating a sense of continuity, of stillness that invites the mind to wander gently. You might imagine ancient priests moving through the area, offering prayers, or the pharaoh's voice echoing in ceremonial rituals. The statues observe all, their silent gaze providing a steady, comforting rhythm to the slow passage of time. By now, the colossi are no longer just stones. They are companions in quiet reflection. They invite you to linger in history, to feel the cool evening air, the soft sand beneath your feet, and the gentle whispers of centuries past. Each moment spent here is a meditation, a gentle reminder of human ingenuity and the calm persistence of those who came before. As you sit quietly near the base, the enormity of the statues fosters a sense of humility, of connection to something much larger than oneself. The quiet majesty encourages your thoughts to slow, your breathing to soften, and your mind to sink gently into calm contemplation. The colossi of Memnon, steadfast and enduring, carry the weight of history with grace, guiding you into a serene, reflective, and sleepy tranquility that lingers long after you have turned away. King Ezana's Stelo, silent testimony of Aksum. Picture yourself walking through the quiet, sun-baked plains of northern Ethiopia, where the ancient kingdom of Aksum once thrived. Here, standing tall against the soft, warm horizon, is the Stelo of King Ezana. This monumental obelisk of carved stone, towering and solemn, has silently watched over the land for nearly 1,600 years. Its weathered surface holds inscriptions and symbols that whisper stories from a civilization that flourished long before the modern world, inviting you to pause, breathe, and slowly explore its mysteries. The Stelo is more than a stone, it is a marker of faith, power, and identity. King Ezana, who ruled Aksum in the 4th century CE, chose this towering monument to celebrate victories, declare his embrace of Christianity, and mark the grandeur of his reign. You can almost feel the weight of those intentions as you walk along its base, running your gaze over the intricately carved patterns, the false doors, the windows, the geometric reliefs that mimic the multi-storied palaces of Aksum. The carvings seem to echo with the voices of the past, their stories soft yet insistent, as if coaxing your mind to wander through centuries of quiet history. As you take in the sheer height of the stele, nearly 70 feet tall, the mind begins to imagine the people who once labored to raise it. Stones quarried and transported with immense effort, workers coordinating with precision, and the royal overseers ensuring each piece aligned perfectly. You can almost hear the distant hum of activity, softened by the passing of time, replaced now by the gentle whisper of wind brushing against the carved stone. The inscriptions on the stele of King Ezana tell of victories over rival tribes and the embrace of a new faith. They hint at Aksum's sophisticated society, its trade networks reaching across the Red Sea and into distant lands. Yet many of these symbols remain enigmatic. What exactly did certain marks mean? Which ceremonies accompanied the erection of such monuments? These questions hang in the air like a soft, persistent murmur, inviting your curiosity without urgency. Walking around the stele, you notice its weathered surface, fissures formed over centuries, and fragments lost to time. Each imperfection is a reminder of endurance, that despite earthquakes, invasions, and the slow erosion of wind and rain, the monument still stands. There is a quiet majesty in that persistence, a patience that lulls the mind into a calm, reflective pace. You might imagine yourself centuries ago, seeing the stele newly erected, its polished surface gleaming under the sun, a symbol of authority and divine favor. The area surrounding the stele is serene, the open plains stretch far and wide, and the horizon seems to breathe slowly, guiding your thoughts into a gentle rhythm. You might imagine ancient ceremonies, priests in ceremonial robes, offerings laid at the base of the monument, people gathering to witness the power of their king. Even now, in silence, the stele seems to hold that sacred presence, a quiet reminder of humanity's desire to mark its existence and beliefs in stone. The scale of the stele encourages contemplation. Standing beneath it, you feel a sense of humility, a connection to those who lived centuries before you. The carvings, though weathered, are precise and purposeful. You notice tiny details, perhaps missed by the casual observer, each line telling of careful craftsmanship and a society attuned to artistry and symbolism. There is a soothing rhythm in examining these details, a slow, meditative process that encourages calm and focus. As the sun drifts across the sky, the shadows shift along the stele's carved faces, revealing patterns that seemed hidden moments before. You can imagine how these shadows would have interacted with the daily lives of the ancient Aksumites, perhaps marking times for ceremonies or guiding processions. The interplay of light and stone creates a quiet spectacle, and your mind begins to drift gently with the soft movement of the day, letting the stele guide your thoughts into a relaxed, reflective pace. Even in its solitude, the stele of King Ezana seems to communicate. It tells of ambition and devotion, of human ingenuity and spiritual pursuit. Each mark, each carved line, is a link to a past that is distant yet tangible. You might close your eyes and feel the presence of history enveloping you, the quiet energy of generations resting gently within this single, monumental stone. Night begins to fall over the plains of Aksum, and the stele takes on a darker, more contemplative tone. The fading light softens its edges, and a quiet stillness settles over the area. In this serenity, you might imagine distant stars reflected in the smooth surfaces, ancient rituals carried out under moonlight, the whispers of Aksumite priests, the soft footsteps of those who revered the monument. There is no hurry, no urgency. The stele invites your mind to wander slowly, to linger in thought, and to drift peacefully along the currents of history. By the time darkness fully embraces the land, the stele of King Ezana becomes a silent companion to your imagination. Its stories etched in stone, guide your thoughts into a calm, reflective state. Each detail, each carved symbol, is a thread connecting you to the Oxumite kingdom, to human ambition, to the enduring desire to leave a mark on the world. In its quiet majesty, the stele offers a space for meditation, contemplation, and eventually, gentle rest. Levitated Mass, the silent journey of a colossal stone. Imagine the quiet streets of Los Angeles, the sun casting soft shadows over the sprawling city. Among its bustling roads and modern buildings, there exists a monument unlike any other, a stone so massive, so deliberate, that its presence seems almost otherworldly. This is Levitated Mass, the creation of Michael Heiser, a large-scale sculpture that draws your eyes upward, inviting you to pause and consider the weight of history, time, and human ambition. At first glance, it is simply a rock, colossal and silent. But as you approach, you begin to sense the story it carries. Weighing 340 tons, this granite monolith did not arrive at its location by mere chance. It was carefully extracted from a quarry in Riverside, California, and transported over 100 miles to its current home at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Imagine the care, the precision, the human effort that went into moving such an enormous piece of stone. Engineers, workers, and machines all worked in harmony, orchestrating a quiet symphony of patience and determination. Walking alongside the stone, you notice its textured surface, rough in some places, smoother in others, as though time itself has left its mark. The subtle grooves and imperfections make it seem alive, a silent witness to the eons it has rested within the earth. One can almost imagine it lying in the quarry, untouched, absorbing the quiet whispers of nature, until it was chosen to be part of a grand artistic vision. The journey of Levitated Mass is extraordinary. The transport itself was a slow, deliberate movement, a procession watched by thousands of curious onlookers. Trucks, cranes, and trailers carefully carried the rock, inch by inch, across roads, under bridges, and through highways, pausing at each moment to ensure the stone's safety. For many it was a spectacle of engineering marvel. Yet for the stone the journey was quiet, each mile a testament to endurance, patience, and human ingenuity. Now situated at the museum, the monolith hovers above a concrete trench, creating a pathway that visitors can walk beneath. As you step under it, a sense of awe envelops you. The sheer size, the weight suspended above, creates a feeling of reverence and quiet reflection. There is no rush here. The stone encourages slow, deliberate movement, drawing attention to the present moment and the calm beauty of monumental human effort. The experience is almost meditative. The stillness of the stone contrasts with the city around it, creating a space where time seems to stretch. You may imagine the countless generations that shaped the earth to form such a rock, the tectonic forces that pressed it into existence, and the long silence it endured in its natural environment. In its monumental presence, Levitated Mass becomes a bridge between the natural and human worlds, connecting ancient geological history to modern artistic expression. As you linger beneath it, the mind begins to wander slowly. You think of the quarry where it once rested, of the hills and rivers it has silently observed. You consider the hands that shaped it, moved it, and positioned it above this trench, and your thoughts drift into a gentle rhythm, syncing with the calm presence of the stone. It does not speak, yet it communicates about endurance, patience, and the quiet majesty of monumental creation. Even the smallest details of the installation carry significance. The trench, the concrete, the careful positioning, all of it enhances the sense that this stone is suspended in time. You might notice the faint sounds of footsteps on the museum floor, the soft whispers of other visitors, but the stone remains impervious, a constant, silent presence. It draws your attention inward, inviting contemplation and, eventually, rest. As daylight wanes and shadows stretch across the monolith, the atmosphere shifts subtly. The stone seems to absorb the soft golden light, transforming from a simple object into a vessel of calm, quiet energy. Walking away from it, you carry with you a sense of connection to the earth from which it came, to the hands that moved it, and to the quiet patience of monumental effort. It is a reminder that even the largest, heaviest objects can embody serenity and reflection, if only one allows oneself to slow down and observe. By the time night falls over Los Angeles, Levitated Mass sits silently in its museum setting, unmoved, timeless, yet ever present. Its story, etched into the very stone, lingers in your mind. You leave the space with a sense of calm and wonder, your thoughts slowly drifting like the shadows across its vast surface. In this quiet, monumental presence, one finds not just a sculpture, but a meditation on time, effort, and the enduring beauty of the natural and human worlds intertwined. The broken menhir of Gras, a silent witness of time. In the quiet fields of Brittany, France, there stands a stone unlike any other. Its size is overwhelming, its presence commanding, yet it lies broken, fractured, and still strangely majestic. This is the broken menhir of Gras. To gaze upon it is to feel the weight of history, to feel time itself stretched across millennia, soft and unyielding. Imagine yourself walking slowly through the field, the grass whispering beneath your feet, the air crisp and slightly cool. You approach this massive stone, and a sense of calm washes over you. Thousands of years ago, in a time before written records, ancient people quarried these stones from the rugged earth. The men here, intended to stand upright, must have been a monumental challenge to transport. You can almost picture the teams of laborers, ropes in hand, pulling the stone along wooden sledges, sliding it over logs, the sweat on their brows glistening in the sun. Every effort they made was a testament to human ambition, to a desire to leave a mark on the world, to create something that would outlast a lifetime. Even broken, the stone retains its presence. The fractures are not merely damage, they are a narrative written in stone. Perhaps a violent storm struck it, or perhaps the sheer limits of human engineering caused it to splinter. Maybe, just maybe, the break was intentional, part of a ritual that we can no longer fully understand. Standing beside it, the mind begins to quiet, thoughts slow, and your attention is drawn to the details. Small chips along the edges, the faint striations from chisels long worn down by time. Each of these tells a story. The broken menhir is more than just a stone, it is a connection across thousands of years. Your hand brushing against its surface brings you into contact with the efforts of those who first quarried and attempted to erect it. The stone bridges the past and the present in a quiet, gentle way, urging patience and reflection. Surrounding the menhir, the landscape stretches endlessly. Rolling fields of green sway with the breeze, distant hills rising softly against the horizon. The natural world seems to embrace the stone, framing it as both object and monument. Birds glide lazily overhead, and the faint rustle of leaves adds a gentle rhythm, like a heartbeat of the land itself. You feel yourself slowing, becoming part of the landscape, letting the history and the quiet merge with your own presence. As you move closer to the fractures, your imagination drifts to the stone's original purpose. Was it a marker for a sacred site, a place of gathering, or a boundary between communities? Perhaps it was meant to align with the sun during solstices, or to serve as a focus for rituals long forgotten. The truth is hidden, and yet, in its silence, the stone invites you to consider these possibilities. You can let your mind wander freely, imagining the ceremonies that may have taken place here, the lives that intersected with this enormous monument, the laughter, the toil, the reverence of people who lived thousands of years ago. Time seems suspended. The broken menhir has witnessed countless generations, yet it remains stoic and patient. Seasons have passed over it, winters harsh and unforgiving, summers bright and warm. The fractures have softened edges, eroded by wind and rain, yet the stone endures. Standing beside it, you feel a quiet reassurance. History, even in its imperfection, persists. The stone teaches resilience. You begin to notice the subtle changes in light as the day progresses. Morning mist slowly lifts, sunlight touches the upper edges, highlighting textures and details that were hidden before. Shadows lengthen, moving gently across the fractured surfaces. The broken stone takes on different expressions depending on the time of day, reminding you that beauty and mystery often exist in impermanence. Picture now the ancient laborers again. They have just pulled the massive stone to its intended location. Their muscles ache, and their hands are raw from the ropes and levers. Perhaps they are chanting or offering prayers. Perhaps there is a leader guiding them, speaking softly but firmly. You can imagine the tension in the air as the stone wobbles, teetering on the brink of uprightness. And yet, something goes wrong, and the stone falls, splitting upon impact. There is disappointment, yes, but also awe, for the stone itself seems alive with presence, with meaning, even in its broken state. Walking around the menhir now, you notice the curves and angles, the places where the rock naturally gave way, the smooth patches where the stone may have been worked. You can feel the weight of time pressing softly, as if the stone itself is asking for quiet contemplation. The broken menhir does not demand attention, it invites it, gently, calmly, like a whispered story. As the afternoon sun begins to wane, the colors of the fields deepen. Golden tones play along the edges of the stone, and long shadows stretch across the ground. The wind is lighter now, carrying the distant scent of wildflowers. You can almost hear the faint echoes of ancient voices, carried across the centuries. The menhir's fractures become a canvas for imagination, a map of history and effort. Evening falls, and the menhir takes on a solemn, meditative aura. Its fractured surface glows in the twilight, inviting reflection. You sit or stand quietly, letting the stillness of the stone and the surrounding landscape enter your mind. You are not just observing history, you are feeling it. You are part of the continuum, connected to those who labored, prayed, and wondered beside this same stone thousands of years ago. As darkness gently approaches, the stone remains, steadfast and patient. It has seen storms, Witness the rise and fall of civilizations, and yet it endures, offering a silent meditation on time, effort, and human ambition. There is no rush here, no urgency, only the quiet majesty of a broken monument, standing tall in its imperfect form, inviting you to slow down, breathe, and simply exist. The broken menhir of Urgra is more than a stone. It is a teacher, a silent storyteller, a calming presence that connects past and present. Its story is not one of triumph, nor failure, but of persistence, endurance, and quiet mystery. As you leave, the whispers of time linger, soft and gentle, carrying with them the echoes of effort, imagination, and wonder, leaving you with a deep, unhurried calm that stretches long into the night. The Western Stone, a silent guardian of time. In the heart of an ancient quarry, beneath the soft light of morning, there lies a stone so immense it feels almost otherworldly. Known to locals as the Western Stone, its surface stretches far beyond the reach of a single person. To stand beside it is to feel a profound quiet, a connection to the hands that first touched it thousands of years ago. Imagine approaching this massive monolith slowly, every step soft, almost reverent, as if the earth beneath you hums gently, aware of your presence. The stone begins at the level of your shoulder, but even that small portion hints at the sheer scale of what lies before you. As you run your hand along its surface, rough yet familiar, the subtle grooves left by ancient tools tell a story of careful labor and meticulous planning. The workers who carved this stone were precise, patient, and deeply attuned to their craft, shaping a material so unforgiving with a level of skill that continues to inspire awe. Picture the scene centuries ago. Teams of people, perhaps hundreds strong, hauling this colossal block from its original location, moving it with ropes, levers, and unyielding determination. Every pull, every shift, was a concerted effort, a silent chorus of human endurance. The Western Stone, now immobile, was once part of a vision, a structure or monument whose purpose may forever remain a mystery. Yet even in its stillness, it exudes intention and meaning, whispering secrets to those who approach with patience. The air around the stone carries a subtle energy. Time seems to slow, each second stretching, inviting reflection. The sun drifts across the sky, and with every passing moment, the shadows cast by the stone shift imperceptibly, revealing textures and carvings that were invisible moments before. These gentle changes, almost imperceptible, feel like a quiet dialogue between the observer and the ancient world. You breathe in slowly, letting the enormity of the stone fill your senses, and with each breath, the outside world fades further away. The Western Stone is not simply a relic of construction, it is a witness. It has observed generations rise and fall, seasons pass, and the world around it transform. You might imagine what it has seen: festivals held in its shadow, quiet meditations, or perhaps the voices of workers sharing stories as they toiled under the sun. There is a calm rhythm in imagining these moments, a continuity that stretches through time, connecting us to the lives of those long gone. As you explore further, you notice small details, tiny scratches, likely left by tools, the faint indentation where a guide's hand once rested, or where ropes pressed into the stone's surface during transport. Each mark is a gentle reminder of human effort and ingenuity, a testament to the desire to leave a mark that endures. In a sense, the stone is alive with memory, each groove a heartbeat of history that pulses softly for anyone willing to listen. The surrounding landscape frames the Western Stone perfectly. Rolling hills rise and fall in the distance, the sky above a muted canvas of blues and golds. Birds occasionally glide over the stone, their wings flapping in slow, deliberate arcs. The wind whispers through nearby trees and over the rocky ground, adding a serene soundtrack to this encounter. All these elements together encourage a slow, deliberate pace, a meditative approach to absorbing both history and the natural beauty of the site. You can imagine the stone being part of a larger project, perhaps a temple, monument, or a sacred site. The purpose may be lost to time, but the effort and vision are tangible. You can sense the planning, the struggle, the collaboration, and the reverence that went into its creation. And yet the stone is patient. It waits quietly, never demanding attention, only offering it to those who seek it. As the sun lowers, the Western Stone transforms subtly in color and mood. Shadows lengthen across its surface, highlighting every indent, every nuance of texture. The stone becomes a living canvas for light and time, encouraging reflection, inviting calm, and inspiring wonder. The broken or imperfect areas of its surface add character, evidence of challenges overcome, of resilience and persistence. Let your imagination drift. Perhaps you can see the stone in its original context, lifted into place with immense effort, guided by human ingenuity, observed by those who marveled at the achievement. Perhaps rituals were performed here, or prayers offered, or simply quiet contemplation as ancient eyes traced the same lines your gaze now follows. The connection across millennia is soft, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly grounding. Even as night approaches, the western stone remains steadfast. Its presence is enduring, silent, and calm. In its shadow, you feel time stretch and soften. You are drawn into a slower rhythm, one that encourages patience and contemplation. The stone does not need explanation. It exists as a testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and quiet endurance. As you slowly step back and take one final look, the stone seems to exhale, as if acknowledging your presence. The gentle rustle of leaves, the faint cry of a distant bird, and the soft crunch of earth beneath your feet accompany your departure. Yet the western stone remains, a silent guardian, a timeless witness, offering stillness and calm, connecting the past to the present in ways that words cannot fully capture. It is here, beside this colossal relic, that one realizes the beauty of patience, the value of quiet observation, and the endless fascination of human achievement. The western stone is not just a piece of rock. It is history, memory, and meditation, waiting for those who slow their pace and truly listen. Mausoleum of Theodoric, a silent fortress of stone. Imagine approaching a structure that has stood for over 15 centuries, weathered by time, yet astonishingly preserved. The Mausoleum of Theodoric in Ravenna, Italy, rises from the ground with quiet authority, its massive stones exuding a sense of permanence, of history carved in granite. As you walk closer, the cool air brushes your skin, carrying whispers of centuries past, and the surrounding city noise fades, replaced by the gentle hum of your own breathing. The structure is simple yet monumental. 2 stories of carefully placed stone blocks create a box-like silhouette, crowned by a single enormous stone, a monolithic roof weighing more than 300 tons. Standing beneath it, you can't help but feel a sense of awe. The sheer size of the stones, the skill needed to assemble them, and the ingenuity required to lift the capstone into place, all speak of a civilization with extraordinary architectural knowledge. You begin to imagine the hands that first carved these stones, rough and calloused, yet precise, moving carefully so that each block fit perfectly. In the quiet of the mausoleum, every detail seems amplified. The carved stones, subtle grooves, and ancient inscriptions become more than decoration. They are the voices of the past, faint yet persistent, speaking across time. You might picture the Ostrogoth artisans and workers, drawing plans, measuring angles, discussing the lift of the enormous roof stone, and working together in silent coordination. Each block was more than a stone. It was a part of a vision, a desire to leave a lasting testament. The air is calm, almost reverent, as if the mausoleum itself is aware of its place in history and waits patiently for visitors to acknowledge it. Walking around the base, you notice the precision of the masonry, the way each block interlocks with the next. There are no visible supports holding the roof in place. The ingenuity of design is subtle but undeniable. This is a quiet reminder of human ambition and the lengths we will go to preserve memory, honor leaders, and reach beyond ourselves. Imagine the mausoleum when it was first completed. The city of Ravenna, bustling and alive, must have watched as the colossal stones were placed, one by one, each lift a feat of coordination and strength. Theodoric the Great, king of the Ostrogoths, may have walked through these grounds, envisioning how his legacy would endure long after he had passed. And now, standing centuries later, you can feel that presence, not as a ghost, but as an echo of human desire, ambition, and artistry. The design is deliberate. The square base conveys strength and stability, while the monolithic roof hints at permanence, an enduring crown of stone. The quiet symmetry and subtle elegance inspire a slow, meditative observation. You can imagine yourself sitting nearby, eyes tracing the lines of the stones, letting your mind drift with the wind, the light slowly changing across the facade as the day passes. Each moment seems to stretch, allowing contemplation and connection with those who built it. The mausoleum does not shout its significance. It does not demand attention. Instead, it offers it softly, patiently, to those willing to linger. Imagine the shadows in the late afternoon, lengthening across the massive blocks, highlighting textures and grooves carved so long ago. There is a calming rhythm in these small observations, a quiet narrative that unfolds for anyone who takes the time to notice. You might wonder how the roof stone, so massive and precise, was lifted into place. No one knows exactly, but imagining the techniques sparks curiosity. Ropes, levers, perhaps wooden frameworks and sheer manpower. The thought of hundreds of workers coordinating carefully, their efforts focused on a singular task, creates a vivid image of human determination and ingenuity. As you walk around the mausoleum, consider the passage of time it has witnessed. Wars, regimes, generations rising and falling. Yet this structure remains, silent, immovable, almost timeless. It connects us to history not through stories or inscriptions alone, but through presence, scale, and the quiet assurance of stone. Sitting quietly, you might close your eyes for a moment and imagine the centuries passing like ripples on water, each one gently brushing against this enduring monument. In its silence, the mausoleum of Theodoric encourages reflection. You begin to feel the weight of history, not as a burden, but as a soft, grounding force. It reminds us that human creativity, patience, and vision can produce works that outlast lifetimes, even civilizations. And perhaps, just as softly, it invites you to slow your own pace, to listen, to observe, and to let time stretch gently around you. Even as the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the stone facade, the mausoleum seems calm, patient, and wise. Its presence offers a quiet meditation on endurance, ambition, and the mysteries of ancient craftsmanship. As you slowly step back, the massive stone blocks remain, stoic and unchanging, silent witnesses to the passage of time, offering a calm and steadying reminder of what humans can achieve when determination, skill, and vision converge. It is here, in the shadow of this ancient monument, that one realizes the value of quiet observation, the beauty of patience, and the subtle power of history preserved in stone. The mausoleum of Theodoric stands as both an achievement and a teacher, patiently inviting contemplation, reflection, and a deep sense of connection with the past. Gochang, Hwasun, and Ganghwa dolmen sites, silent stones of time. Imagine standing on a quiet hillside in South Korea, the wind brushing softly across your face, and the landscape stretching gently in every direction. Here, scattered across fields and slopes, lie thousands of dolmens, massive stone structures, placed carefully by hands long vanished from history. These stones, some standing upright, others forming horizontal table-like shapes, are silent witnesses to a distant past, their stories buried in the whispers of the earth. The dolmens of Gochang, Hwasun, and Ganghwa are not merely rocks, they are monuments to human intention and ritual. Each one, weighing several tons, was quarried, transported, and placed with precision that challenges our imagination even today. As you walk among them, you feel the enormity of the task, the countless hours, the ingenuity, and the determination it took to move stones so heavy, using tools far simpler than what we now consider necessary. It is quiet here, almost reverent. The fields are dotted with stones that have survived thousands of years, surviving rain, wind, and human interference. You might imagine the people of the Bronze Age, their lives entwined with these stones, who created these dolmens, not just as tombs but as lasting symbols of their beliefs, perhaps gateways to another realm, markers of power, or ceremonial centers. The exact purpose remains a mystery, and it is this mystery that draws you in, gently and persistently. Take a moment to observe the construction. Many dolmens feature a single massive capstone resting on smaller supporting stones. The precision is astonishing. How did people lift these massive rocks, aligning them perfectly without modern machinery? The answer escapes us, but as you trace the grooves and contours with your eyes, you can almost see the ingenuity at work. Wooden levers, ropes, human coordination, and a deep understanding of balance and weight. The silence around you enhances the experience. There are no inscriptions, no carvings on most stones to explain their origins or purpose. They communicate through presence alone, through their sheer scale, their alignment, and their endurance. Some stones are arranged to mark celestial events, solstices, or equinoxes, hinting that these ancient builders were not only skilled engineers, but careful observers of the heavens, weaving cosmic patterns into their monuments. As the sun shifts slowly across the sky, shadows stretch across the dolmens, emphasizing their size and geometry. You might imagine ceremonies held here, with torchlight flickering across the stones at night, casting long, dancing shadows. The air, carrying a subtle scent of grass and earth, seems to whisper the secrets of the people who once gathered here, now long gone, leaving only their silent monuments. Walking from one site to another, Gochang, Hwasun, Ganghwa, you notice variations. Some dolmens are simple, with a capstone resting on two stones. Others are elaborate, with carefully shaped bases and enormous roof stones. Each reflects the skills, resources, and intentions of the communities that built them. Despite these differences, a common thread persists: the deep human desire to leave something enduring, a bridge across centuries, a message cast in stone. In the calm of this landscape, you might pause and touch a stone. Its surface, rough yet worn, smooth in places by centuries of wind and rain, conveys time itself. It is hard not to feel a connection with the past here. The builders are gone, but their presence lingers in the stones, in the careful arrangements, in the alignment with the sky. Each dolmen feels like a heartbeat, frozen in time, a reminder of human persistence, reverence, and imagination. Even now, these dolmens continue to inspire curiosity. Archaeologists study them, attempting to unravel their purpose, yet much remains unknown. They are markers of a society sophisticated enough to organize labor, understand structural mechanics, and observe celestial patterns, yet enigmatic enough to leave no written record explaining their intentions. This tension between understanding and mystery gives the site a quiet power. a calming, almost hypnotic presence, perfect for reflection. As the day fades and shadows grow longer, the dolmens seem to settle further into the landscape, blending with the hills, rocks, and grass. The silence deepens, and you can almost imagine them as guardians of memory, holding secrets that only time can slowly reveal. The air feels heavy with centuries, yet calm, inviting your mind to wander gently through history, across generations, across lives now long forgotten. Here, at Gochung, Hwasun, and Gonghwa, the dolmens are more than monuments. They are quiet teachers of patience, endurance, and the human desire to leave a lasting mark. Standing among them, feeling the weight of history and the persistence of stone, your breathing slows, your thoughts soften, and time seems to stretch. Each dolmen, each stone, is a gentle invitation to contemplate, to imagine, and to surrender to the calm presence of the past. Even as you slowly step away, leaving the stones behind, the sense of peace lingers. The dolmens remain, silent and unmoving, yet full of quiet life. They invite reflection, meditation, and a connection with a world that is both distant and close. And in that quiet, you find a sense of calm, a soft bridge to sleep, guided by the enduring, patient presence of these ancient stones. Alexander Column, the silent sentinel of St. Petersburg. Imagine yourself standing in the heart of St. Petersburg, in the vast expanse of Palace Square. The winter air is crisp, almost still, carrying the faint scent of the Neva River nearby. Towering above you is a structure both imposing and serene, a testament to human ambition and the quiet perseverance of time. The Alexander Column. At first glance, it is a single, elegant shaft of red granite rising toward the sky, seemingly unsupported, yet anchored firmly to the earth. The column, completed in 1834, was built in honor of Emperor Alexander I, celebrating Russia's victory over Napoleon. But beyond the historical facts lies a deeper, almost meditative story of engineering, artistry, and human resolve. The granite itself, quarried from the distant quarries of Finland, was transported over hundreds of kilometers, a feat that required precise coordination, extraordinary manpower, and ingenuity that feels almost poetic in its ambition. As you gaze upward, the scale of the column becomes apparent. It rises more than 47 meters, almost the height of a 15-story building, and yet it maintains an astonishing grace, its smooth surface reflecting the soft glow of the sun or the muted light of a cloudy day. The absence of any visible attachment at its base creates an almost magical illusion, as if it were floating, a silent sentinel observing the bustling square below. Think of the people who built it. Skilled masons and laborers, engineers and artisans, all contributing their knowledge and craft to create something that would endure through the centuries. Imagine the careful placement of the monolith, balanced with such precision that it has remained standing for nearly 2 centuries, weathering the cold Russian winters, the occasional tremors, and the passage of countless footsteps around its base. The column is topped with a statue of an angel holding a cross, a delicate contrast to the massive granite below. The angel's presence is subtle, yet powerful, as if watching over the city in quiet vigilance. Its polished surfaces catch the light differently throughout the day, creating a gentle play of shadows that seems almost alive. Standing here, you begin to feel the slow heartbeat of history, the echo of the countless people who have paused, reflected, or simply passed beneath this silent guardian. Take a moment to consider the engineering marvel it represents. The Alexander Column remains one of the tallest single-piece columns in the world. Unlike many monumental structures that rely on complex scaffolding, this column achieves its majesty through a single monolith, relying on precise calculations and the raw strength of its material. There is a calm confidence in its design, a quiet assertion of permanence that contrasts with the fleeting movements of the people below. Even today, the column holds a subtle mystery. How exactly did the builders manage such a feat in the 19th century? What stories of toil, ingenuity, and careful planning are hidden in the techniques they used to raise this enormous stone? The answers are partially known, yet much remains to the imagination, inviting us to consider human capability and the quiet ambition that drives monumental creation. As the square hums with life, tourists, locals, and gentle wind, the column remains unmoved, absorbing the stories around it. Each step, each gaze, becomes part of its own long narrative, linking the present with the past in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The surface of the granite, polished and enduring, seems almost to breathe with the centuries it has witnessed, a calm presence against the rapid pace of modern life. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the raising of this monolith, the shouts, the exertion, the careful guidance of pulleys and levers, all orchestrated in quiet determination to create something eternal. The success of this endeavor has allowed the column to endure as a silent witness to history, a reminder of human vision, and a guide for reflection and calm. As you walk around its base, Notice the subtle details carved into the pedestal. The inscriptions and decorations speak to victories, to lives, and to the human need to memorialize both struggle and achievement. The column does not shout, it does not demand attention. Instead, it quietly commands respect, inviting observers into a gentle contemplation of time, perseverance, and the enduring impact of human ambition. Standing here, the Alexander Column is more than a monument. It is a meditation in stone, a reflection on patience, and an anchor for the imagination. Its towering presence, balanced by the delicacy of the angel above, draws your attention upward, encouraging a slow, measured breathing and a sense of calm awareness. It whispers the story of centuries, of dedication, and of the quiet power of human ingenuity. As the sun sets and the shadows lengthen across Palace Square, the Alexander Column seems to soften, merging with the pastel hues of the sky. The square grows quieter, footsteps fewer, and the column's serene presence offers a moment of reflection, inviting your mind to wander gently through the ages. It is a sentinel, not only of history, but of stillness, a perfect companion for calm thoughts and gentle introspection. By the time you turn away, the column has imprinted a subtle sense of wonder and peace, its quiet majesty lingering in your mind, gently coaxing you toward rest and reflection. In the shadow of this silent giant, one can almost feel the pulse of history slowing down, matching the rhythm of your own breath, guiding you into a calm, sleepy awareness of time, achievement, and the enduring spirit of humanity. Vatican Obelisk, the silent witness of time. In the heart of Vatican City, at the center of the vast and orderly Piazza San Pietro, there stands a monument that has silently observed the passage of centuries, the Vatican Obelisk. At first glance, it appears as a simple vertical shaft of stone, elegant in its symmetry, yet imbued with an aura of history that stretches back more than 2,000 years. Standing here, you are drawn into a contemplation not only of its physical presence but of the countless stories it has witnessed, the people who have passed before it, and the civilizations that shaped it. Originally carved in ancient Egypt, the obelisk's origin is linked to Heliopolis, the city of the sun. It is a monolith of red granite, a remarkable feat of craftsmanship and endurance, towering over the square, weathered yet unwavering. Imagine the skilled artisans who first shaped it, chiseling the hard stone with tools of copper and stone, each strike deliberate and precise, each movement a testament to their dedication. Centuries later, it was transported from Egypt to Rome, a journey across the Mediterranean that would have tested the limits of ancient engineering and human endurance. The obelisk's relocation to the Vatican in 1586 by Pope Sixtus V marked a new chapter in its long life. Engineers and workers, under the guidance of the architect Domenico Fontana, carefully moved this immense monolith through the narrow streets of Rome. Picture the slow procession, ropes and pulleys, teams of laborers coordinating every movement with meticulous attention, the tension and anticipation palpable. The successful erection of the obelisk in its current position remains a marvel of human ingenuity, a silent story carved into stone. Its surface, worn by time yet resolute, carries inscriptions and symbols that hint at the cultural, spiritual, and political significance it held for its original creators. The ancient hieroglyphs, though weathered and partially obscured, evoke a connection to distant lands, to rituals performed under the Egyptian sun, and to beliefs that shaped the understanding of life, death, and the cosmos. Standing before it today, one can almost hear the faint echo of chants, prayers, and ceremonies that have surrounded it across millennia. Consider the balance and symmetry of the obelisk. Its sharp edges and pointed apex create a visual tension, drawing the eyes upward toward the sky. This design, characteristic of Egyptian obelisks, reflects an awareness of geometry, astronomy, and symbolism that continues to inspire awe. The placement in the Vatican Square aligns it within a carefully orchestrated urban plan, creating a dialogue between architecture, open space, and human movement that feels almost meditative. As you slowly walk around the obelisk, notice the way the light changes across its surface. In the morning, the sun casts long shadows across the square, emphasizing the verticality of the monument. At midday, the stone glows softly, a warm presence in the midst of marble and cobblestone. By evening, the fading light imbues it with a quiet, almost mystical aura, inviting reflection and introspection. The obelisk is more than a static artifact, it is a witness to history. It has stood through the rise and fall of empires, the changing of religious practices, and the ebb and flow of human ambition. In its silent observation, there is a sense of calm, a rhythm of endurance that contrasts with the rapid pace of life around it. It reminds us of the passage of time, the impermanence of human endeavors, and the quiet resilience of things made with care and purpose. Imagine for a moment the people who have interacted with it over centuries, pilgrims arriving from distant lands, scholars studying its inscriptions, artists sketching its form, and ordinary citizens pausing to rest or contemplate. Each individual contributes a fleeting moment to the obelisk's long narrative. yet the monument itself remains unchanged, absorbing these experiences silently. Its journey from the quarries of Egypt, across seas and cities, to the heart of one of the most significant religious sites in the world, is a testament to both human determination and respect for the past. Each movement, each calculated effort, each careful placement, reflects an awareness of history and the desire to preserve a connection to ancient civilizations. Standing before it, one can feel the weight of these layers of time, each one adding to the quiet majesty of the stone. The Vatican obelisk also serves as a reminder of human curiosity. Despite the centuries, much about its original purpose, the ceremonies it witnessed, and the exact methods of its ancient transport remain partly mysterious. Scholars continue to study it, seeking to uncover more about its origins, the people who created it, and the significance it held in a civilization that predates recorded European history. As the day fades and shadows lengthen across St. Peter's Square, the obelisk remains a calm, silent presence. Its towering form invites slow, measured breaths, encouraging a gentle contemplation of history, time, and human effort. It is not merely a monument, it is a meditation in stone, a quiet observer of the ebb and flow of life, a bridge between the ancient world and the present moment. In the stillness of evening, when the square empties and the light softens, one can feel a sense of connection with centuries past. The obelisk embodies endurance, patience, and quiet grandeur. It is a silent storyteller, sharing its narrative not through words but through presence, inviting us to slow down, reflect, and drift into a calm awareness of time and history. By the time you step away, the obelisk's story lingers softly in your mind. It is a gentle companion for reflection, a reminder that human achievement, when guided by vision and perseverance, can transcend time. In its quiet majesty, it encourages stillness, a deep breath, and the soothing rhythm of history flowing gently through our awareness. The obelisk of Luxor, silent witness at Place de la Concorde. In the heart of Paris, amidst the elegance of the Place de la Concorde, rises a monument that seems almost out of place, yet deeply connected to the tides of history. The obelisk of Luxor, standing tall and solitary, its golden tip catching the soft Parisian light. This ancient Egyptian obelisk draws the eyes upward and invites the mind to drift into contemplation. It is not merely a piece of stone, it is a silent witness to the unfolding of centuries, a traveler from a distant land carrying whispers of a civilization long past. Originally erected over 3,000 years ago, in the city of Luxor, in the shadow of the great temple of Karnak, this obelisk was once part of a pair. It marked the entrance to sacred spaces, framing the rituals, prayers, and lives of a culture deeply attuned to the cycles of the sun, the Nile, and the cosmos itself. The hieroglyphs etched upon its surface speak of pharaohs, deities, and ceremonial events, their precise meanings partially lost to time, yet their presence remains a powerful connection to the minds and hands that created them. Imagine for a moment the artisans who labored to craft this monolith. Using only copper tools and sheer human perseverance, they shaped and polished the hard stone, each strike of the chisel deliberate and rhythmic. The obelisk would have been transported over miles of sand, water, and stone, a monumental effort reflecting both ingenuity and devotion. Every inch of its surface bears the weight of history, carrying with it the energy of countless hands, the guidance of skilled planners, and the vision of rulers who sought to immortalize their legacy. Centuries later, in the 19th century, this ancient monument began an entirely new journey, crossing continents and oceans to arrive in Paris. In 1833, under the direction of Muhammad Ali Pasha of Egypt, and with the help of French engineers, the obelisk was transported along the Nile and then across the Mediterranean. Its arrival in Paris in 1836 was met with both awe and admiration, and it was erected in the Place de la Concorde, a square already steeped in history, witnessing the tumult of revolutions, celebrations, and quiet daily life. Standing before it today, one can almost sense the contrast between the bustling modern city and the calm endurance of the obelisk. While people hurry by, taking photographs, walking dogs, or commuting to work, the stone monolith remains patient and unchanging. Its presence encourages slow breathing, a gentle slowing of the mind, an awareness of the passage of time in a way that modern life rarely permits. The inscriptions etched along its sides tell stories of pharaohs, of offerings to gods, of the triumphs and fears of ancient kings. They are a language of permanence, a reminder that human ambition and devotion, when fused with craftsmanship and reverence, can transcend centuries. Although many of the details are mysterious, the obelisk itself conveys a clear message: endurance, observation, and connection between eras. Imagine walking around it slowly, observing its perfect symmetry and the way the sun shifts across its surface throughout the day. In the morning, the stone glows softly, casting gentle shadows on the cobblestones of the square. By midday, the golden tip gleams, reflecting light across the surrounding fountains and buildings. As evening approaches, The obelisk silhouette becomes a quiet sentinel, standing tall as the city lights flicker on, and the murmur of Parisian life fades into the background. The journey of the Luxor obelisk from ancient Egypt to the heart of Europe is itself a meditation on human curiosity, ambition, and connection. The careful planning, the engineering challenges, and the dedication required to move such a massive piece of stone across continents are remarkable, and yet, in its current resting place, it feels almost effortless, a natural presence, quietly bridging two worlds separated by time and geography. As you linger near it, take a moment to consider the countless people who have gazed upon this obelisk over millennia. Egyptian priests and pharaohs, French engineers and laborers, Parisian citizens, tourists, scholars, and dreamers. Each interaction, fleeting or long, adds a layer to the monument's story, yet the obelisk remains unchanged. It invites reflection, offering a sense of calm and continuity amidst the flow of human life. In its quiet majesty, the obelisk of Luxor embodies endurance, artistry, and the mystery of civilizations long past. It reminds us that while the world changes, some creations are timeless, and some monuments exist not only to impress or inspire, but to provide a space for contemplation, a place to slow down and simply observe. As the sun sets over the Place de la Concorde, the obelisk stands bathed in a soft glow, casting elongated shadows over the fountains and surrounding architecture. The gentle hum of the city blends with the silent presence of the stone, creating a moment of introspection, a pause in the chaos, a reminder of the vast expanse of human history and the quiet power of enduring monuments. By the end of your quiet observation, the story of the Luxor obelisk remains with you, not through words alone, but through the calm, reflective energy it carries. Its journey across millennia, its silent bearing, and its connection to both ancient and modern worlds invite a peaceful awareness, a gentle drift into contemplation, and perhaps a soft, restful state of mind. Brihadisvara Temple, the timeless giant of Thanjavur. In the heart of Thanjavur, in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, India, stands a monument of sheer devotion, ambition, and artistry, the Brihadisvara Temple. Also called the Peruvadayar Kovil, this temple is not merely a place of worship. It is a testament to human dedication, ingenuity, and the profound desire to reach the divine. As you approach it, you can feel its weight, not just in the stones that compose its towering walls, but in the history and culture that have been layered upon it for over 1,000 years. Constructed during the reign of Rajaraja Chola I, in the early 11th century, this temple embodies the Chola dynasty's vision of spiritual grandeur and architectural mastery. Imagine the thousands of artisans, sculptors, and laborers who worked tirelessly, their hands chipping away at massive granite blocks, carving intricate motifs and figures that still inspire awe today. They worked with precision, patience, and a devotion that seems almost otherworldly, knowing that their labor would endure far beyond their lifetimes. The Brihadisvara Temple is particularly known for its towering vimana, the central tower that rises above the Sanctum Sanctorum, reaching a height of approximately 66 meters. It is one of the tallest of its kind in India, crafted entirely from granite, a material so heavy that modern engineers still marvel at how it was lifted and positioned without cranes or modern machinery. The structure seems to touch the sky, a silent prayer frozen in stone, and as you gaze upon it, it is impossible not to feel the human ambition and divine reverence that created it. Every corner of the temple is filled with stories. The walls, adorned with bas-reliefs, depict scenes from the lives of gods, kings, and common people. The Nandi, a colossal monolithic statue of the sacred bull, faces the main sanctum, its calm and serene expression a perfect embodiment of devotion. Walk along the corridors, and you will notice intricate carvings of dancers, musicians, and deities, each detail reflecting the Kala era's rich cultural life and deep spiritual connection. As you imagine the temple in its early days, it is not merely stone and granite, it is a living center of faith. Priests chant hymns, lamps glow in the sanctum, and the fragrance of incense permeates the air. Pilgrims from far and wide gather, offering prayers, seeking blessings, and becoming part of a ritual that has been repeated for centuries. The temple is not just a physical structure, but a conduit between the mortal and the divine, a space where time seems to slow and the mind finds quiet reflection. Consider the engineering marvels hidden within this ancient structure. The temple's foundation and layout demonstrate precise alignment and an understanding of acoustics, light, and structural integrity that remain astonishing even today. The Vimana's apex is crowned with a massive single stone weighing over 80 tons. The fact that it was lifted and placed over a millennium ago is a puzzle that continues to intrigue archaeologists and engineers alike. The calm of the early morning brings a different perspective. The soft light of dawn illuminates the temple, highlighting the textures of carved stone, the subtle curves of the sculptures, and the silent grandeur of the Nandi. Birds circle gently above, and the faint rustle of leaves adds to the serene atmosphere. Standing here, one can almost hear the whispers of the past, the quiet conversations of those who built, worshipped, and maintained this sacred place over centuries. Even as the city of Thanjavur hums with modern life around it, the temple remains a haven of tranquility. Its massive walls absorb the clamor. Its stone corridors invite slow, deliberate footsteps, and its history provides a gentle, contemplative rhythm. The Brihadisvara temple is not just observed, it is experienced. Its presence encourages patience, mindfulness, and a deep reflective awareness of the continuity of human endeavor. Walk around the temple and notice the small details, the delicate floral motifs, the subtle depictions of mythological creatures, and the inscriptions that recount the deeds of kings and patrons. Each stone tells a story, each carving is a testament to skill, and together they form a narrative that transcends centuries. One cannot help but feel a connection, a sense that the hands that shaped these stones reached across time to touch ours. As the sun begins to set, casting warm golden hues across the temple, the shadows lengthen, revealing patterns and forms that may have been invisible in the bright daylight. The temple transforms in this light, its features softened, yet more profound, inviting quiet reflection. In this moment the mind slows, the body relaxes, and the essence of human achievement, faith, and timeless artistry becomes almost tangible. The Brihadisvara temple is more than a monument, it is a living testament to vision, devotion, and the human spirit. Its quiet majesty, its intricate artistry, and the stories embedded in its stones offer a rare opportunity to pause, breathe, and enter a reflective state. As you linger in thought, perhaps even imagining the centuries of worshippers and artisans who shaped its destiny, the temple becomes a portal to serenity, a bridge between past and present, and a gentle companion for those seeking calm and contemplation. By the end of your quiet journey through this sacred space, the memory of the Brihadisvara temple remains with you, not just as an architectural wonder, but as a source of calm, a reminder of human potential, and a soft, enduring rhythm that invites your mind to relax and drift, softly, into reflection and rest. Temple of Jupiter, the colossal heart of Baalbek. In the Bekaa Valley of modern-day Lebanon, nestled among rolling hills and fertile plains, lies Baalbek, an ancient city whose monumental ruins speak of ambition, devotion, and mysteries that span millennia. At the very center of this ancient city stood the Temple of Jupiter, a structure so vast, so meticulously designed, that even today it challenges our imagination. Its colossal stones and grand scale leave a quiet, lingering awe in every visitor, a feeling that is both humbling and serene. The Temple of Jupiter was not merely a religious structure, it was a testament to human determination, engineering prowess, and spiritual devotion. Construction began during the Roman period, but the site itself had layers of sacred history long before that, echoing rituals and beliefs from civilizations that preceded the Romans. Imagine the early architects, surveyors, and laborers carefully planning each stone, each alignment, aware that their work would outlast generations, reaching far beyond the lives of those who laid it. The sheer size of the temple is staggering. Its foundation stretches across an enormous plateau, and its massive columns soar into the sky, once numbering over 50, each carved from single blocks of limestone that weigh hundreds of tons. These stones were quarried, transported, and erected with a precision that continues to baffle modern engineers. How ancient hands and minds, without cranes or modern machinery, moved such immense objects remains a question whispered among historians and archaeologists alike. Walking through the ruins today, one can almost feel the rhythm of the past. The ground beneath your feet once bore the weight of countless worshippers, priests, and pilgrims who approached the sanctuary in solemn devotion. The air seems to hold a faint memory of chants, offerings, and ceremonial processions, a quiet echo that invites reflection. The colossal columns, though fallen or fractured over centuries, maintain a presence that exudes both power and tranquility. The Temple of Jupiter was designed to awe. Its outer portico, adorned with intricate carvings and grand entrances, guided the eye upwards toward the heavens. Each stone was deliberately chosen, each placement carefully executed, to inspire reverence and contemplation. The remaining columns, some standing solitary against the sky, are more than architectural feats. They are reminders of human aspiration, of the desire to bridge earth and sky, the mortal and the divine. Consider the engineering behind this colossal monument. The stones, some over 20 meters long, were meticulously positioned to ensure stability and grandeur. Ancient inscriptions hint at the techniques used, yet much remains mysterious. How did the workers achieve such precision? How were these monoliths transported across uneven terrain? These questions linger, like soft whispers through the ages, inviting us to ponder, to imagine, and to dream. Even in ruin, the Temple of Jupiter exudes a gentle majesty. The surrounding landscape, serene and wide, frames the structure beautifully. Early morning light bathes the stones in a soft glow, casting long shadows that slowly shift as the day unfolds. There is a meditative quality here, a rhythm of light and stone, time and memory, that encourages slow, deliberate observation. As your gaze travels from the massive columns to the scattered remnants of altars and foundations, you sense layers of history pressing softly against the present. The temple once housed statues, altars, and sacred objects that drew the faithful from near and far. Each stone seems to hold the weight not only of its physical mass but of centuries of human hopes, fears, and devotion. This is a place where history lingers, where the passage of time is both gentle and profound. Walking through Baalbek, one can almost hear the silence speaking. The city around it is quiet now, yet the temple's presence resonates with the patience and labor of countless individuals who contributed to its creation. Every carved detail, every massive block, tells a story of ambition, faith, and reverence that transcends time. There is a stillness here that invites reflection, a calmness that allows the mind to slow and wander through history. Even the fallen stones have a story to tell. Weathered by centuries, they retain a quiet dignity. Lichen and moss cover their surfaces, adding texture and subtle color, softening the edges of human craftsmanship with nature's gentle touch. Standing among these remnants, you can imagine the echoes of ancient ceremonies, the scent of incense, the soft murmur of prayers rising toward the sky. The Temple of Jupiter is more than an archaeological site, it is an experience. Its enormity encourages humility, its history inspires curiosity, and its presence instills a sense of calm. For those willing to pause and observe, the temple becomes a quiet companion, a reminder of human ambition and devotion, and a gentle guide into reflection and meditation. As the sun sets over the Bekaa Valley, the remaining columns catch the fading light, glowing softly against the dusky sky. Shadows lengthen, and the ruins transform once again, revealing angles and details that daylight had hidden. The temple's silent majesty invites you to slow your breath, to notice the delicate balance of stone and space, and to consider the centuries of hands that shaped this monumental creation. By the time your attention drifts, perhaps lingering on the horizon beyond the ruins, the Temple of Jupiter leaves a lasting impression. Not as a building frozen in time, but as a living testament to human vision, devotion, and the quiet, enduring presence of history itself. The stillness here is not emptiness, it is an invitation to calm, to reflection, and to a gentle, sleepy reverie that carries you softly through the echoes of the past. Trajan's Column, the story carved in stone. In the heart of Rome, amidst the bustling streets and centuries of layered history, stands Trajan's Column, a monument that has silently watched the city evolve for almost 2,000 years. Unlike other structures that soar in sheer size or grandeur, this column captivates in a more subtle, persistent way. Its spiraling frieze winds around its shaft like a long, continuous story, a silent narration carved in stone that invites a slow, thoughtful gaze. Commissioned by the Roman Senate to honor Emperor Trajan's victories in the Dacian Wars, the column rises approximately 30 meters into the sky, standing upon a solid pedestal, its presence commanding yet serene. The carvings that wind around it are a continuous tapestry, depicting soldiers, landscapes, battles, and rituals in extraordinary detail. Each scene is a window into ancient life, a carefully composed narrative that has endured centuries, offering insight into Roman strategy, culture, and the artistry of its creators. Walking around the column, the frieze slowly reveals itself, spiraling upward in an intricate dance of stone. You can imagine the craftsmen at work, chiseling each figure with patience and precision, their hands guided by skill, their minds focused on creating something both durable and beautiful. The process must have taken years, a testament to the dedication and devotion of those who brought this monument to life. As your gaze travels upward, following the spiraling story, the scenes unfold at a gentle pace. Soldiers march, encampments form, rivers and mountains rise in miniature relief. It is a narrative without words, yet it speaks volumes. Each figure is carefully proportioned, each expression subtly rendered, conveying a sense of humanity and realism that makes the distant past feel immediate, tangible, and alive. The top of the column once held a bronze statue of Trajan, gazing over Rome, a silent overseer of the empire he commanded. Today, even though the statue has been replaced, the column retains its quiet authority, a reminder of ambition, power, and the artistry that immortalizes human endeavor. Standing at its base, one is drawn to the details, to the quiet storytelling etched into the stone. The frieze is not just a record of war, it is a meditation on human life, organization, and the fleeting nature of time. The column itself is an engineering marvel, constructed from massive drums of Carrara marble, each precisely carved and fitted. It stands as a symbol of Roman ingenuity. How these enormous stones were lifted and assembled without modern machinery is a mystery that continues to fascinate historians and engineers alike. There is a rhythm to the structure, a cadence that guides the eye upward, encouraging a slow, contemplative observation, perfect for quiet reflection and meditative thought. Imagine walking the streets of ancient Rome, approaching the column for the first time. Citizens would pause, travelers would stop in awe, and soldiers might gaze at their own likenesses immortalized in stone. The scenes would spark stories, conversations, and wonder. Even today, standing before it, one feels a similar quiet reverence, a connection across millennia, a sense of being part of something larger than oneself. The carvings are filled with subtle details, tents pitched beside rivers, soldiers in mid-march, the faces of leaders and commoners alike. Each vignette is carefully composed to tell a specific part of the story, yet when seen as a whole, the narrative becomes more than a record of conquest. It is a living panorama of a civilization. The column captures not only the triumphs of war, but the quiet moments between battles, the human activities that continue even in times of conflict. As your eyes ascend the spiral, the continuity of the story draws you in. The column encourages a slow, measured contemplation, a mindful observation that aligns perfectly with a calm, sleepy pacing. It is easy to imagine sitting quietly, tracing the figures with your gaze, feeling the weight of history settle gently, and letting the rhythm of the carvings carry you into a meditative state. The pedestal of the column, with its inscriptions, provides further context, yet it is the frieze itself that speaks most profoundly. Words may fade, but the carved images endure, whispering softly across centuries. The artistry invites you to linger, to notice the expressions, the interactions, the flow of life preserved in stone. Each curve, each line, is deliberate, guiding the eye and the mind in a gentle, hypnotic rhythm. Trajan's column is more than a monument, it is a storyteller, a keeper of memory, and a silent witness to history. Its carvings allow us to travel through time, experiencing the life and society of ancient Rome at a pace that encourages stillness, reflection, and calm. The stone holds the patience of generations, a timeless record of human endeavor that invites us to slow down, breathe, and observe. Even as centuries pass, the column maintains its quiet majesty. It is not a loud spectacle, but a profound companion for those who wish to immerse themselves in the past, to experience history without haste. Standing before it, or tracing its spiral with your imagination, you can feel the steady, unbroken rhythm of human life captured in marble, a rhythm that invites calm, serenity, and eventually sleep. In the quiet moments when the bustle of modern Rome fades into the distance, the column continues to tell its story, patiently and gracefully. Soldiers, landscapes, leaders, and ordinary citizens remain immortalized in stone, waiting for each observer to pause, to notice, and to be carried gently into reflection. The column does not hurry, it does not rush, it simply exists, a calm presence that encourages quiet, meditative thought, and perhaps, as you listen and imagine, a gentle descent into sleep. The colossal temple of Karnak, echoes of stone giants. In the heart of ancient Thebes, stretching along the banks of the Nile, lies the Temple of Karnak, a sprawling complex that feels almost alive with its sheer scale and the weight of millennia. It is not just a temple, it is a city of stone, a place where pharaohs, priests, and countless hands of workers etch devotion into granite, sandstone, and mud brick, leaving behind a monument that speaks quietly, yet profoundly, to anyone willing to listen. Approaching Karnak, one cannot help but be dwarfed by the towering pylons that guard its entrances. Their surfaces are etched with hieroglyphs that record victories, rituals, and offerings. Each symbol, carefully carved and painted in colors long faded by time, whispers stories of a civilization that revered both gods and the mysteries of life. Walking slowly through these gateways, you feel the calm weight of history pressing gently, a presence that encourages a slow, measured pace and a reflective state of mind. The temple complex is vast, sprawling over more than 100 hectares. Columns rise like a forest of stone giants, their capitals carved into the shapes of lotus flowers and papyrus plants, reaching high into the sky. The great hypostyle hall, in particular, is a marvel. Its 134 columns stand in perfect rows, so close that sunlight filters through only in narrow slivers, casting quiet shadows on the intricately inscribed walls. One can imagine priests walking these aisles, their sandals whispering against the stone floors, their chants echoing softly across the vast spaces. The carvings on the walls tell stories of pharaohs and gods, battles and rituals, life and death. Each figure is meticulously detailed. One can trace the curve of a royal beard, the precise angle of a soldier's arm, the flowing robes of priests performing sacred rites. It is a story in stone, unfolding slowly as one moves through the hall, drawing the observer into a meditative state, a calm pacing that mirrors the eternal patience of the builders themselves. At the center of the temple lies the sanctuary, once housing the cult statue of Amun-Ra, the king of gods. To enter, one had to walk through a series of corridors and smaller chambers, each narrower than the last, heightening a sense of anticipation, quiet reverence, and solemnity. It is easy to imagine the soft flicker of torchlight casting shadows on the walls, highlighting the carvings, and creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere, perfect for calm contemplation. Outside, the sacred lake glimmers in the sunlight, reflecting the temple's immense pylons and obelisks. These monolithic obelisks, carved from single stones, stand as silent witnesses to centuries of human devotion. The largest, brought here by pharaohs using ingenuity that still baffles engineers, rises with precision and majesty. Each massive stone seems to hum with the weight of human ambition and belief, a quiet resonance that seems to slow time itself, encouraging one to walk with deliberate steps, to breathe slowly, and to observe every detail. Imagine standing in the middle of the hypostyle hall, the columns tower above, the carvings encircle your vision, and the faint whisper of the Nile drifts through the distant entrance. One can almost feel the hands of countless workers, chiseling, lifting and aligning, building a place that would last for millennia. The enormity of the structure is humbling, yet it is not overwhelming. Rather, it encourages calm, reflective observation. The rhythm of the columns, the repetition of carved symbols, the alignment of walls, all combine to create a meditative experience, drawing the mind gently toward quiet contemplation. Walking slowly through the complex, you notice subtle details, the alignment of the temple with the stars, the placement of obelisks to mark solstices, and the quiet symmetry that makes the sprawling site feel both ordered and alive. Each hall, each courtyard, each small sanctuary invites careful attention, a slow pace, and a soft focus. The temple is a rhythm in stone, guiding the observer's gaze and thoughts in a gentle spiral, perfect for a calm, sleepy narration. Even the outer areas, where massive statues of pharaohs stand in silent guard, convey a story of ambition, devotion, and the human desire to reach toward the divine. The statues, often larger than life, exude a quiet power. Their gaze, frozen in eternity, seems to observe the centuries, inviting visitors to slow down, to reflect, and to feel the subtle weight of history pressing gently on the mind. Karnak is not just a temple, it is a testament to human patience, creativity, and reverence. The scale of the site allows the mind to wander, to trace the lines of columns, the curves of hieroglyphs, and the steps of ancient priests. There is no rush here, no urgency, only the gentle, continuous unfolding of history in stone. A story that encourages calm, reflective attention, and a gradual descent into serenity. Standing at the center of the temple, one can close their eyes and imagine the temple in its prime, torchlight flickering, incense curling into the air, chants rising softly, priests and devotees moving through the halls in quiet devotion. The temple seems to breathe in these moments, a slow, eternal rhythm that mirrors the heartbeat of those who once walked its corridors. Karnak's grandeur lies not only in its size, but in its capacity to create stillness. The vast columns, the endless inscriptions, the carefully placed obelisks, and the alignment with celestial movements all combine to craft a space that naturally slows the mind. It allows you to step out of your daily pace, to observe slowly, to listen carefully, and to sink into a meditative, sleepy state. Even today, as the sun sets over the Nile, casting long shadows across the pylons and obelisks, the temple invites quiet reflection. Visitors walking along its vast halls, imagining the hands that built it and the lives it touched, can feel a connection that transcends centuries. The temple speaks not in loud proclamations, but in gentle whispers, its stories etched into stone, its presence commanding yet calm, its rhythms inviting peace, contemplation, and sleep. As you slowly trace the massive halls, the intricacies of carvings, the patterns of the columns, and the silent watch of the colossal statues, the Temple of Karnak carries you gently through its history. You move at a meditative pace, feeling the weight of time settle softly around you. Each step, each gaze, each breath draws you deeper into a sense of calm, a reflection on human ingenuity, and the enduring power of devotion etched in stone. Karnak is, in every sense, a temple of quiet awe, a space where the mind can wander through history at a slow, deliberate pace, absorbing the enormity of human effort, the subtleties of artistry, and the serenity of monumental architecture. It is a perfect companion for contemplation, meditation, and eventually, the gentle drift into sleep. The colossal statue of Ramses II, at Abu Simbel, silent sentinel of the desert. Deep in the southern reaches of Egypt, near the Nubian border, stand the majestic monuments of Abu Simbel, carved directly into the sandstone cliffs by the hands of thousands of workers over 3,000 years ago. Among them, the colossal statue of Ramses II rises from the desert floor, four towering figures seated with a quiet authority, gazing over the vast stretches of sand. Approaching the site, the scale of the statues becomes overwhelming. Even from a distance, the sheer height and breadth of Ramses II command attention, inviting slow, careful observation. The desert wind whispers softly across the sands, carrying with it a faint echo of footsteps from the workers who once sculpted this living rock. The statues are not merely representations, they are silent witnesses, guardians of history, and carriers of the pharaoh's eternal presence. Each facial feature is carved with meticulous precision, capturing not just likeness, but a sense of serene majesty. The eyes, though chiseled from stone, seem to follow visitors gently, encouraging a calm pace, a soft, reflective breathing as you take in the enormity of human ambition and devotion. The seated posture conveys a composed dignity, a reminder that these structures were created not in haste but with deliberate, patient craftsmanship. The interior of the temple at Abu Simbel reveals corridors and halls lined with carvings depicting Ramses II's reign, his victories in battle, ceremonial rituals, and moments of devotion to the gods. The walls seem to breathe slowly, guiding the eye from one scene to the next in a gentle rhythm. Walking through these halls, you can imagine the soft echoes of voices long gone, chanting prayers or recounting heroic deeds in hushed tones, a perfect cadence to lull the mind into calm contemplation. The alignment of the temple itself is an architectural marvel. Twice a year, the rising sun penetrates the inner sanctum, illuminating the statues of the gods seated beside Ramses II, while the outer walls remain in quiet shadow. This alignment, achieved without modern instruments, speaks to an understanding of astronomy and engineering that still amazes scholars today. It invites a slow, deliberate approach to observation, where each detail is absorbed gently, without rush, allowing the mind to settle into a meditative state. Outside, the desert stretches endlessly, the golden sands shifting gently with the wind. The colossal statues stand firmly, seemingly untouched by time, yet subtly shaped by centuries of erosion. The contrast between the soft, flowing desert and the immovable stone figures creates a quiet tension, a serene drama that encourages thoughtful observation. Every angle, every curve of the sandstone, every shadow cast by the sun or moon, adds to the immersive experience, guiding the mind toward calm reflection. The interior chambers are adorned with intricate hieroglyphs, narrating stories of pharaohs, gods, and ceremonies. These carvings are precise, detailed, and purposeful. Each symbol, each image, carries meaning, inviting the observer to pause, to consider the passage of time, and to recognize the enduring human effort that shaped this monumental site. Moving slowly through these spaces, one can feel the continuity of human history, a gentle reminder that time, though vast, connects all who have walked these paths. At night, Abu Simbel takes on a different character. Under the soft light of the moon, the colossal statues exude a quiet, almost mystical presence. Shadows deepen the lines of the carvings, the contours of the stone, and the monumental scale becomes even more apparent. The desert is calm, and the mind naturally slows, following the gentle rhythm of the landscape and the enduring silent authority of Ramses II. Imagine walking along the base of the statues, feeling the rough texture of the sandstone beneath your fingertips. The carvings tell their stories quietly, guiding you through rituals, victories, and divine interactions. The air is still, and the desert stretches far beyond the horizon. The colossal figures invite contemplation, a soft reflective pacing that gradually draws the observer into a meditative state. Even the minor statues and smaller carvings, depicting family members, guards, or divine figures, contribute to the overall feeling of harmony. Every detail, no matter how small, encourages slow observation, fostering a gentle, sleepy rhythm as the mind follows the lines, the inscriptions, and the vast spaces between them. The temple complex, with its carefully planned layout and monumental presence, is both a work of art and a tool for quiet reflection, teaching patience and the appreciation of detail over time. The desert wind moves subtly through the entrance, carrying the scent of sand and distant vegetation, merging with the quiet presence of stone. One can imagine ancient pilgrims moving slowly through the temple, offering prayers or simply absorbing the grandeur around them. The rhythm of footsteps, soft echoes, and the hushed ambience create a sense of timeless calm, guiding the observer toward introspection and sleep. As the day fades, the golden sun casts long shadows across the colossal statues. The light and shadow interplay creates a quiet drama, accentuating the detailed features of Ramses II and the gods beside him. The vast scale encourages the observer to pause, breathe deeply, and appreciate the patient effort required to construct such a monument. Each step taken along the temple complex slows the mind further, immersing it in a gentle meditative state. Abu Simbel is not just a testament to human skill and devotion. It is a space designed to be experienced slowly, deliberately, and with attention to the subtle details of light, shadow, and stone. The colossal statues, the carefully aligned temple, and the quiet desert surroundings combine to create a calm, reflective, and sleepy rhythm that carries visitors gently through history. In every sense, the Temple of Ramses II at Abu Simbel is a masterclass in monumental architecture, patience, and devotion. The colossal statues, silent yet commanding, the intricate carvings, and the alignment with celestial events create a space where time slows. It encourages a gentle, reflective pacing, guiding the mind through history and ultimately into a state of calm, meditative awareness, perfect for drifting into sleep. The Great Granite Sphinx of Tanis, guardian of forgotten secrets. In the vast expanse of Egypt's northeastern delta, amid shifting sands and traces of once bustling cities, stands a colossal figure that has silently witnessed thousands of years pass by, the Great Granite Sphinx of Tanis. Unlike its more famous counterpart at Giza, this sphinx is hidden away, often overlooked, yet it holds stories etched into its very granite that continue to puzzle historians and archaeologists alike. Approaching the site, the first thing one notices is the sheer scale of the statue. The body, carved from a single block of stone, stretches over 20 meters in length. The head, slightly worn by time and erosion, gazes forward with a calm, almost meditative expression. It is as if the Sphinx itself invites visitors to slow down, to breathe, and to absorb the stillness of its presence. The desert wind moves gently over the sands, carrying with it whispers of long-forgotten rituals and ceremonies performed under its watchful eyes. The origins of this Sphinx are shrouded in mystery. Scholars debate its age, with some suggesting it could predate even the great monuments of Giza. Its alignment and positioning hint at a purpose beyond mere decoration. Perhaps to guard sacred spaces, perhaps to embody the power of forgotten kings, or perhaps to act as a celestial marker that interacts with the movement of the sun and stars. Walking around the Sphinx, one notices the subtle curves and contours of the stone, carved with a precision that speaks of patient craftsmanship and deep reverence. The face of the Sphinx, though weathered, exudes a serene majesty. Its eyes, carved with intent, seem to follow the observer, encouraging a slow and deliberate pace. Every step taken around this monument feels deliberate, as if time itself has slowed in respect for the stone guardian. One can imagine ancient priests performing rituals here, their movements quiet and deliberate, chanting prayers that have long since faded from memory. The Sphinx is surrounded by fragments of temples and ruins, traces of a once vibrant city that thrived beside the Nile. Broken walls, scattered statues, and carved stelae hint at rituals, governance, and culture that have disappeared beneath layers of sand and history. Walking through this landscape, the observer feels the weight of centuries pressing softly, urging calm, reflective observation. Every broken stone and weathered carving tells a story of devotion, of artistry, and of the inexorable passage of time. As the sun rises, the Sphinx catches the first light in a way that illuminates its features in soft golden hues. Shadows stretch across the desert floor, accentuating the scale of its body and the elegance of its form. The quiet interplay of light and shadow draws the eye gently from one part of the statue to another, inviting slow contemplation. One can almost hear the soft brushing of sand against stone, a subtle rhythm that lulls the mind into a meditative state. Historians remain puzzled by the inscriptions near the Sphinx. Some markings suggest royal decrees or dedications, yet others appear to reference deities and rituals that are not well documented elsewhere. These cryptic messages encourage the mind to wander gently, pondering ancient beliefs, lost languages, and the mysteries of civilizations that came long before ours. The Sphinx acts as a silent teacher, showing that not all knowledge is meant to be grasped quickly. Some truths reveal themselves only in patience and quiet reflection. In the stillness of midday, the desert heat softens, and the Sphinx's shadow grows shorter. The stone itself seems to exude a calming presence, as if the monument absorbs the energy of its surroundings and radiates it back slowly. Visitors are naturally drawn into a quiet rhythm. Steps become softer, breathing slower, and thoughts more measured. The grandeur of the Sphinx paired with the solitude of the delta creates a perfect environment for gentle introspection and calm awareness. Inside the ruins near the Sphinx, smaller statues and carvings depict lions, falcons, and human figures, all of which contribute to the overarching narrative of guardianship and reverence. Observing these details slowly, one realizes that the Sphinx is not an isolated monument, but part of a larger complex designed to inspire awe and quiet contemplation. Each artifact, each carving, seems to encourage a measured pace, inviting the observer to experience the monument fully, without haste. As the day wanes and the desert is bathed in the soft glow of twilight, the Sphinx's features take on a new character. Shadows deepen, highlighting the fine details of the sculpted stone. The desert wind shifts, carrying with it the faint scent of distant vegetation and the faint lingering echo of human activity from millennia past. The gentle cadence of nature blends with the monument's silent presence, fostering a sense of calm that settles deep within the mind and body. Walking away from the Sphinx, one can pause to consider the enormous effort required to carve such a figure from a single block of granite. the labor, ingenuity, and patience of the ancient builders speak to a civilization that valued permanence, legacy, and the transcendence of human experience. The Sphinx stands as both a reminder of what was achieved and a silent invitation to reflect on the mysteries that still linger in the sands of time. Night descends, and the Sphinx merges with the darkness of the delta. Stars shimmer above, tracing paths once studied by ancient astronomers. The monument, bathed in moonlight, continues its silent vigil. The quiet desert, the cool night air, and the gentle presence of the colossal Sphinx combine to lull the mind into tranquility. Observers feel a deep, calm rhythm, as if time itself has slowed to match the serene pulse of the stone guardian. The great granite Sphinx of Tanis, in all its silent majesty, reminds us that not all knowledge is meant to be hurried. Some mysteries unfold slowly, revealing themselves only to those willing to observe patiently, to feel deeply, and to let the mind drift gently with the rhythm of history. Here, in the quiet of the delta, amid the ruins and the stones, the Sphinx invites you to breathe, to slow your thoughts, and to surrender to the gentle, sleepy cadence of history itself.